This is usually when I have some kind of witty or endearing or heartfelt introduction to an episode, but I just planned this episode about 2 hours ago. So, basically, this is gonna be 2 old guys bitching and moaning about a list that we saw online. So it's very, very 2025.
Thank you very much. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. Let's get it.
Hello, and welcome to the Pop Culture Basement Podcast. My name is Mike Jamison, and with me tonight, well, first of all, supposedly with me tonight was supposed to be Bill Dunn, but in the spirit of rock and roll, I believe, because I don't know for sure, he may be in a back alley somewhere choking on his own vomit or just passed out in his bed. Hopefully, it's the second one. So he is not here right now. I mean, he might show up. He might show. Maybe he might be on an island with Jim Morrison somewhere. I don't know. So he might, and Brian Jones. He might show up later. But with me tonight is, you know him, you love him. You've already heard him on 2 other episodes of this podcast. Anthony, otherwise known as Tinfoil Consortium. Anthony, how in the hell are you doing tonight?
I'm an old man yelling at clouds.
That's right. We both are. And I was
I
not
literally
lying.
just said that and realized my mic was on mute.
I was not lying in the introduction. This is a special episode of Pop Culture Basement because, much like the episode I did on the John Candy documentary with Melissa Nicholson, I called her and gave her a 5-minute warning and said, hey, jump on your microphone and let's talk about this documentary. I at least gave Anthony and Bill a 2 or 3 hour warning after I read a list on Twitter from Billboard magazine. It was they ranked the top 50 rock bands. And Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine shared, that was the tweet I saw. It was from him, and it said, this is Billboard's ranking of the top 50 rock bands, or just another thing to argue about. And maybe, I guess it's that time, it's the end of the year. Variety just put out a list of their top 100 comedy movies of all time. I kind of agreed with most of the choices they made on that list. But when I saw this list, and it's not top 50 American bands, it's just straight up top 50 rock bands of all time. So I looked for 2 other old people. We went outside, shook our fist at a cloud, came back in, and then I hit record on this. Anthony, how are you? How are you doing?
That is entirely accurate. And I I love Tom Morello's posting anywhere. I have a weird 6 degrees of separation with Tom Morello. He's from North Barrington, Illinois. My formative years were spent in Chicago, which is literally like a 30-minute train ride. I would spend most of my summers at the AMC North Barrington 100, literally 100 screens. And I would go and watch one movie and then watch the rest for free all day long, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I saw this list and there is, I shit you not, we have been discussing it since I saw the list. Like myself and my significant other, my girlfriend, we've both been like, why him? Why not Howie Mandel? Or,
I didn't realize Howie Mandel was, is he like number 51 on the list?
He must be. It's an old regional joke for Indiana. It's an old Bob and Tom sketch. They're like, shout out Bob and Tom. We can't pay your licensing fees, but
all right. So I want to give a little background. One, when I saw this, when I saw the list, I posted on Twitter with just on there, and I knew I would get responses. And So, complete honesty, because I love to be honest on the show. I was supposed to record another episode tonight, and that did not work out because podcast scheduling is the bane of not only my existence, but any podcaster. And I'm off this week. It's the week of Thanksgiving. Uh, do I go out to a bar? No, I'm too old. I'm not going to do that. Do I spend time with my family? Of course not. My son was at his girlfriend's house earlier. My wife is watching Dancing with the Stars. What else can I do? I read, watched an episode of Doctor Who for the podcast I'm going to do soon. I still had time. I said, I put it on there. Why don't we do an episode? And of course, Anthony was one of the first people to respond to me. And Bill Dunn responded to me also. And I'm a little bit worried. I'm getting ready to, I think is he in Woonsocket, Rhode Island? Where the hell is Bill Dunn at in New
I'm
England?
a firm believer in the concept that he's participating in the modern Kiss perspective of recording, which is, I not so much I want to rock and roll all night and party every day, but I want to rock and roll till a reasonable hour, then watch Matlock and go to bed.
Well, this is
Bill,
a
I love you. I'm sorry.
that's why we love him. That's why we're busting his balls. This is a rock and roll centric podcast. So maybe he's just, when you would go to concerts and the opening band would come on, and if it wasn't, now see, I was lucky enough. I got some good opening bands when I would go to concerts. I saw Aerosmith and the Black Crowes opened for them. I actually, I went and saw, who was it that I saw? Four Non Blondes opened for, the Four Non Blondes opened for Aerosmith also, which was interesting because they had What's Going On. It was a
Well,
big hit.
the first time I saw Alice in Chains, they were opening for Megadeth.
Wow.
And the second time I saw Alice in Chains, Megadeth was opening for them. So it was a weird yin yang, right?
Yeah, be nice to the people on the way up, because you never know if you're going to see them on the way down. Yeah, when I saw Alanis Morissette, I remember being at the Spectrum in Philadelphia and sitting there and saying, "Who is this band that is the opening act?" And they started to play "Creep," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I know this song." And it was Radiohead. That was the only song I knew, but yeah, it was Radiohead. So yeah,
It's
I
the
think
only song of any value. I'm sorry.
I know
What?
I'm not the biggest. We'll get into it because they're on this list. I'm
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
biggest.
we're gonna
I'm
do
not.
it.
I don't hate them, but I'm not the biggest Radiohead guy. But yeah, you would see the opening act, and then you're like, all right, I'm ready. I am primed. Bring on the main act, and you're waiting. And you're waiting. If it's 1991, you're in Montreal and you're waiting for Guns N' Roses, you're probably in the middle of a riot because they ain't coming on.
Yeah.
So I think Bill is the 1991 version of Guns N' Roses right now. But Bill, if you, like I said, you might hear the dulcet tones of Bill Dunn sometime during this podcast. It wouldn't surprise me if he popped on, especially I think his spider sense is tingling. He's like, somebody's talking about me right now. I can't
hope
do
he
a Bill Dunn
does.
impression.
Like no shit. Bill is one of the best people that you can possibly follow in all of these, as Mike and I were discussing earlier, the Venn diagrams of these various circles of people. He's an honest to God good dude, but
You're gonna fucking make me have to edit this now because I'm cutting that out. There's no way I'm leaving in us talking nice about
leaving
Bill.
that Bill's a good dude.
What are you, insane? I'm not leaving that in. No, I'll leave it in. I love Bill, and you're right. I've met some very, very interesting, and I mean that the best way, people through this podcast, and I hope to meet more. But we are here. We're two old men. We're drinking. It's the week of Thanksgiving. What the hell else do we have to do? Let's talk about this fucking list. All right.
Oh, okay. So, do we want to give the rundown of? Let's at least do the top. They're the bottom 25.
You want to start from the bottom?
Let's start from the bottom.
Okay.
So this list, and again, I like. Do you know what the
Criteria?
the curriculum was to?
I don't. I
determine?
didn't even know this was coming out. I guess a bunch. I would assume a bunch of music writers got together. I'm surprised it's not Rolling Stone. I mean, it's Billboard, but Rolling Stone always has these lists also. I mean, they know what they're doing. This is what they want to do. It's going to cause people to argue. It's going to cause people to talk about it. And that's exactly what they want to do.
Yes, and our friend Brad, the big bearded booty daddy, he brought up an excellent point, which is if it's Billboard, it's based on sales. I don't know how accurate
No, it can't
that
be.
is.
Not with some of these names. I know what he means, but
Yeah, I mean, but even just taking the bottom 10 are Red Hot Chili Peppers,
ugh.
The Cure, Slater Kearney,
Yep.
Def Leppard, Oasis,
Ugh.
The Stooges, Cafe Takba, No Doubt,
What?
Earth, Wind and Fire,
Mm.
The Band, and Blondie.
All right. So can I say first of all, I am a Red Hot Chili Peppers hater. I I'll say
So
this. From 2000 on, I'm a Red Hot Chili Peppers hater. I think in 2000 they put themselves on autopilot and they haven't stopped since. I think they are overrated. I don't think they deserve to be in the top 50 bands of all time. Maybe as I'm saying it, I'm like, okay, I know people know who the Red Hot Chili Peppers are. And like you just brought up, I don't know what the criteria is. I don't know if they say sales and legacy and name recognition. Yes, I know people know the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Uh,
I mean, so starting at that, as a Faith No More guy, if you're talking about the culture war between Red Hot Chili Peppers and Faith No More or Mr. Bungle fans, I am firmly camp Faith No More, Mr. Bungle, right? I can understand the concept of the Red Hot Chili Peppers being one of the more recognizable bands on this, and we went to see Red Hot Chili Peppers last year, I think. Back when Live Nation was doing the Lawn Pass. Live Nation, I'm judging you very heavily right now. Um, the Lawn Pass was a great deal because if you had some place where you had like just a general admission lawn section, you could pay a flat rate, go to every show at that event or at that house. No questions asked. It was basically like a press pass, but you were out in the lawn and everyone looked like, Lego figures. But um Flea still puts on a hell of a show.
I will give it to Flea. I respect Flea. I do.
Uh, I love Flea, and like he
Anthony
loves what he
Kiedis.
does.
Anthony Kiedis. I don't hate the guy. This isn't Kiss levels of hate, and we'll get to that.
We
I,
will.
I'm not. I'm just. I, Anthony Kiedis, dude. Just it's like Jason Lee and Mallrats. Dude just bugs me. Like he talked about. It. Dude
I
just bugs me. I don't. I'm not an Anthony Kiedis fan, and the white boy rapping whatever he thinks he's trying to do. It got
so
to a point where
for
I just I'm
all of the
tired of it.
concerts that I've gone to in my youth and even now as an adult, which is just mostly me sitting in a very small lawn chair because my knees don't work anymore. Um, there are artists that that love what they do, and there are artists that they're just going through the motions. Anthony Kiedis, Billy
Hmm.
Corgan, um, all of Nickelback, but I'm also probably heavily biased in that.
Can you imagine if Nickelback was on this list?
uh, the amount of impotent rage would blot out the sun.
Yeah, there's no Nickelback, there's no Creed, thankfully.
Yeah, which I'm okay with to a degree, but
I mean, I don't know how we're gonna do this. Where I mean, we went through the first bottom 10 of 25 to 50. I mean, we could bring up, or I don't know if you want to bring up some of the bands that aren't on the list or you think should be. I mean, you brought up Faith No More, Mr. Bungle. I mean, I'm gonna say it right off. If you're gonna have the Red Hot Chili Peppers on there, if you're gonna, and I understand I can't say it, Sleater Keaney.
Slater Kinney.
Yeah, and I know who they are. and I know. I mean, I guess I know why they're on there, but I think you could.
To
I think
fill
that.
their spot, I can name 4 groups.
Okay, go
Sarah
ahead.
McLachlan,
Yep.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, but they're not doing solo, so you know what I
The
mean.
end. If you want to go that route, we can go the Indigo Girls, the
That's who I thought.
Cranberries,
Yep, that's who I
Veruca
thought.
Salt.
Yes.
I mean, like Slater Kinney. I get where they were trying to go with it. I really do.
You could
But
even. You could. And I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off. You can even. And this could be. I want to hear what you would say to this because I know and I can imagine with some people when I'm going to say this. You could even put Hole on there.
you could put Hole, and I knew that's where you were going with it.
Yeah.
You could put Hole. You could put the Runaways.
Yes.
You
Or
you
Joan
could
Jett and
put
the Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. You could put Bikini Kill. Bikini Kill is going to have just as many people who know who they are and are still in that, for lack of a better way of putting it, angry, feministic, I am me and you cannot control me
Yep.
perspective. I mean, even if you're not going to isolate it down to individual artists.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say if you wanted to get Janis Joplin in there, you could say Big Brother and the Holding Company, even though it's really Janis Joplin, but I mean, that
It's
was the
really Janis
band.
Joplin,
Yes.
and she should be definitely higher than the bottom 10.
Mhm.
Personal opinion, I'm also somewhat lubricated and heavily
How's that any
biased.
different than any other podcast we've ever done together?
Well, I mean, I'm not like, okay, so like the 8 a.m.s and the first one, I made sure that I was on my best behavior.
No, okay. Now that you know me, you're like I could just let
Yeah,
it all
no,
hang out.
I'll have a rye on the rocks. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the first time we recorded, Anthony was fully dressed. By this time, he's like, I'm just recording naked. It
yeah.
doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm at least wearing a jacket and my They Live T-shirt. I can't speak to anything else. Oh
And a
well, no, I've
beard.
got sandals on
And a beard.
and a beard. Yeah, which is super strange for me, but.
Well, I want to
Uh,
say, and you, before we get to the Oasis of it all, Def Leppard, I don't hate Def Leppard, but I'm not the biggest fan of Def Leppard. If they wanted to bring in hair metal or have something that represents hair metal, I mean, this is why, and I understand why you were saying it when they say, like, okay, sales. Everybody forgets Def Leppard, how big Def Leppard was in the 80s. They were huge. I
yeah,
mean, they
yeah.
had a run there where they're selling 10 million copies of each album. So I get it, but does Def Leppard have they really left? And I'm asking you, I'm talking out loud. Have they left a footprint
I think they have. I mean, like, and I say this.
more so than? And I don't. Again, I'm going to bring this up a lot. I don't hate this band that I'm going to bring up, but I'm not a fan. Bon Jovi.
I don't know that they're bigger than Bon Jovi. I certainly know they're not bigger than Motley Crue.
And as I bring up Bon Jovi, there's no Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band on this list.
Yeah, that's
Which maybe it's them nitpicking or me nitpicking, but if you're going to bring up, I would say you could have Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band be on a list of top 50 bands more than you could have, like I brought up, with Big Brother and a Holding Company, because more people know Janis Joplin as a solo artist. But
well, and everyone
the E Street
equates.
Band, I mean, that really is, I know it's Bruce Springsteen, but they are truly a band.
Well, and I think everyone equates Big Brother and the Holding Company with Janis Joplin. Like it's. I think when you have someone who is as iconic and as unique of a voice in music as Janis Joplin or as Bruce Springsteen, or if you want to bring it to where we can, where you can get some Gen Y, Gen Z viewers, like Disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
Disturbed went through a period of time where they tried to replace David Draymond as a vocalist, and not discussing the politics of it all in regards to Draymond, but as a vocalist, he's very unique. Springsteen is unique. They're not doing major motion pictures about Def Leppard. They're doing major motion pictures about Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
They're in the works of doing a major motion picture about Janis Joplin and Big Brother and the Holding Company. And again, this is just the bottom 10.
Yeah. I mean, do
As
you
much
know
as
who I'm gonna age myself or just out myself as not being cool, which I mean, I'm not really outing myself because I think anybody who's ever spoken to me knows I'm not cool. I don't know who Cafe I don't even know how to say, is it Tech
Takva,
Viva? How do you say it?
it's Takva.
Okay. Who is that?
I had to look them up, and I actually have it pulled up already on my phone. I'm gonna
Okay.
play it into the mic here. Um, where'd it go? 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 Oh, because I did a bunch
Because if you're
of
gonna have a band that, and I don't think I'm at all a rock and roll expert or an expert in music, but you're telling me that there's no place on here for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, but there's a
uh,
place for
and that's one that I am very surprised that we did not come up with, even at this range. But I want you to hear what Cafe Takba is. The song is called
okay.
La Ingratia. Yes, which don't get me wrong, I love me some world music. I really do. But that is not rock. I can play you some Mexican rock.
No. Yeah.
They are the top selling
If
artists.
you're gonna have, yeah, you could have Los Lobos on there if you want to have.
Exactly. Or Richie Valens. Why is Richie Valens not on this?
Wow. Again, solo artist. I mean, I guess they're going by bands, so they're gonna say. But
Yeah, I get
I
that.
I get wanting to have, if you want to have representation, and I'm all for that. But that no one, I don't think anybody, and please, listeners, tell me I'm wrong if you have a collection of Cafe Takba, and tell me what I should listen to and why I am totally wrong that they should be on a list of top 50 rock bands of all time, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers aren't on there. Tell me that they should be on there and that the Doors aren't on there.
Tell me that they're on there and that Journey isn't on there.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. Oh.
I mean, and again, if we're talking about sales, and I will COD you the nails. COD kids, that was when you had pay cash on delivery. I will COD you the nails to crucify me on this, but if you're talking about sales, why is Kiss not on this list?
Ugh.
I know both
I
of us
fully
have.
expected them. I fully expected them to be on the list. I was very surprised that they weren't on the
So
list.
was I.
I was very, very
Uh,
surprised. I think you
wasn't
could take.
disappointed that they weren't.
I wasn't disappointed that they weren't because I knew it would cause Gene Simmons and Paul Paul Hanley pain, but I fully expected them to be on the list. I would say that, in all honesty, I would think they deserve it just because of the legacy they have.
And the
And I
influence.
thought because I am such a big Aerosmith fan that they would put them at 31 because Aerosmith is 32, and I'm always disappointed that Kiss is always rated higher than Aerosmith because I don't think they should be. And
And,
bringing up Aerosmith and Kiss, how are the New York Dolls not on this list if you're going to have the Stooges?
I'll throw this in there as a caveat. I love The Cure. I do. I am an old school goth kid. Like life is so hollow, you know.
I would love to go back in time and see you as a goth
Oh,
kid.
dude, it was awful because like my parents wouldn't let me dye my hair black, so I had the white face paint and the eyeliner, but I had like bright blonde hair. It was
Oh, please
ridiculous.
send me pictures. I'll put them online as I'll put them online as I'm promoting this episode.
But as much as I love The Cure, they top 100, yes, I would put them in the top 100. Top 50, absolutely not.
Where's Soundgarden? Where are the
Personally,
where are the replacements?
where are the Kinks?
They can't. Yeah,
Where is and I get that they're talking about bands, and then I'm going to continue to go down this solo artist road. Where the fuck is Elvis?
but it's bands. I understand that. It's not, they're just not going to put
So,
Elvis because
so
it's
okay,
bands.
so where are the Birds?
Yes, that I will agree. Did they even? And I'm sorry because I'm looking. Do they have Crosby, Stills, and Nash on here?
No, they don't have Crosby, Stills, and Nash on here.
And I think I know we were trying to start from the back, but I mean there are bands that are also way too high up in the ratings. I mean, I just want to bring this up right now because you talked about mailing the nails for Kiss. I will have to mail them back to you so you can use them on me. I think Queen is very is rated way too high, and this is coming from somebody who loves Queen. I
I
think
agree.
Queen is way too high on this list because
Uh,
Queen is the perfect greatest hits band. They are the perfect in the parlance of today. They are the perfect Apple. You go into Apple and you just listen to their top songs. For
Everyone
me, I
knows a
would never
Queen
listen
song.
to a Queen album. I would just listen to all their greatest hits, and their greatest hits are immaculate. But they don't have any B-sides or deep cuts that I think anyone really wants to listen to.
There is one, and it's again when we're talking about Venn diagrams. You're like for those in the metal community, shout out to like my Motorhead fans with the Lemmy going on here. Um, um, Stone Cold Crazy.
That's a great song.
It's a
Yeah,
great song,
it's a very great,
but
but that's been on a greatest hits. I mean, Queen's one of those bands where there are like 50. I think I have about 3 different cassette tapes of their greatest hits. Then when DVDs became the thing, there were like 2 or 3 of their greatest hits were released on CD. And then with streaming, of course, now you can just listen to whatever. But I think that just backs up my point that Queen is best enjoyed as a greatest hits band. And that's not I don't mean that as a slight at Queen.
oh, absolutely not.
I bought A Night at the Opera and listened to it, and I couldn't tell you one other song than the hits that are on that album.
That is fair. But the question is, we've now named at least 10 groups. Some of them are a bit more niche, like Faith No More and Mr. Bungle, but the vast majority of them having major influence on music and society at a large. How is Oasis on here? Yes, I'm going to bring the elephant straight into the room, and then I'm going to shoot it in the head.
As a British band in the mid to late 90s, I get it. They were huge. I own What's the Story Morning Glory. I think that's the album that most people own by them.
Hmm.
But that's the criteria I'm going by. I think they've had one really big album, and it was huge. And they were at one time one of the biggest bands in the world. But they were huge for about 2 or 3 years, and then because the two brothers are total dickheads and can't be in the same room together, and because they're arrogant pieces of shit, they
And
faded out until they tried to come back, because I saw them on tour with the Black Crows. It was the brothers, I can't remember what it was called. It was something it wasn't Brothers of a Feather, because that was just the Black Crows, but it was the something brothers tour, because they have two bands that are known for having brothers in them that fight all the time. And I'm going to
yeah,
bring up the Black Crows too, because I think the Black Crows should be on here. I will always stand for the Black Crows. And now Oasis is back again, but I don't think they deserve to be on any kind of all-time list.
I don't. And
They don't have the material.
if you're talking about longevity and you're talking about the tertiary British invasion, because we had the original British invasion, then we had the glam invasion,
Yep.
then we had new wave. I guess it's quadrutiary. I don't know. That
Sure, why not? I'm on my third beer.
Yeah. Well, I just finished my my fourth drink. But
Yes, this is what the special episodes are all about. The special episodes are I do 2 minutes of warning to whoever I'm going to have on, and then we just get drunk while we're recording the podcast.
Mazel tov. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the quadrutiary like British invasion, and you're talking about longevity, why is Bush not on here?
I don't
I
know.
say that
If Bush was on there, I think I would have a problem with that too, because I think they're another one that had. I know they've stayed in different iterations, but they burst on the scene and they were very, very big. But then I think it was the law of diminishing returns with them. I mean, can I bring it up? I will say that, and we talked about this before we started recording, because I want to do an episode on them. I will lay it out there. I'm a huge Aerosmith fan. I love them. They were the first band that I got into. They were the first band I loved. They were the first band that I was obsessed with. I think they should be higher, because I think, one, longevity, as you said, and also just the inspiration that they provided for. I mean, they are, and people will argue, because I brought up the New York Dolls already, and people said that Aerosmith stole a lot from the New York Dolls, and I can see why, because now that reading books and looking at old performances by both bands, I understand why. But you don't last as long as a band like Aerosmith lasted without having talent and without being able to connect to totally different generations.
in cultures. I mean,
Yep.
like,
And doing it also, now it's almost a cliche listening to Walk This Way, and I mean, there's been a book that's been on my Amazon wish list that I haven't bought yet, because I'm waiting for it to go down in price, written just about the recording of Walk This Way with Run DMC and Aerosmith. And so it becomes a cliche now that, okay, yeah, well, Aerosmith was they started rock rap and all that kind of stuff. But for 1986, that was something that was unprecedented. And it was something that I remember the interviews with Run DMC when they said, oh, well, we used to have this Toys in the Attic album, and we didn't even know who this band was. And we thought the name of the band was Toys in the Attic, but we liked this song. And when you listen back, you do hear, it's like, oh my God, like Steven Tyler he didn't create rap, but I can understand why rap artists, especially in the 80s, were drawn to Aerosmith, because he had that kind of rapid fire type of delivery and music behind him that they could use when they were starting to develop that sound.
well, and bringing up the rap rock thing, like we saw opening for Godsmack, Mixmaster Mike, the DJ for the Beastie Boys.
Oh, I was going to bring up, how do you not have the Beastie Boys on there also?
Agreed. How do you not have the Beastie Boys? Because
And this brings it back, and I don't care. I mean, this is just going to be a freewheeling episode, so we can talk about whatever. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But this brings it back to arguments that people have about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're talking about the Beastie Boys. How do you not have, do you consider them a rock artist? Well, I mean, come on, you need to start breaking that stuff down, because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you're gonna have all kinds of different artists. How do you not have Run DMC in there?
I mean, they
If
recorded
you're
with
going
Aerosmith.
by not just sales, which I don't think they're going by, but if you're going by influence, if you're going by legacy and that kind of stuff, how do you not have Run DMC? How do you not? The Beastie Boys proved that they looked like they were going to be something like, and stay with me on this, stay with me on this.
Yep.
They looked like they were going to be something like Oasis, where I bought License to Ill when it came out in 1986, because every 6th or 7th grade white boy like me with pimples on their face was buying License to Ill, because that's what you bought. It was like, and you thought, okay, they're a bunch of party boys. This is almost like, in a couple of years, people will say, "Oh, remember Fight for Your Right to Party?" That was like a one-off kind of thing. Nobody knew that 4, 5, 6, 7 years later, when alternative, and I'm doing the air quotes again in the air, music hit, that the Beastie Boys would be one of the leading groups of that genre,
Or
and could
even,
prove that, hey, we are not just these stupid party boys, and it was almost like frat rap.
well, and part of that was Rick Rubin's influence. You know, you look at those tracks off of License to Ill, and the ones that were the most successful were No Sleep Till Brooklyn, Girls, Fight for Your Right.
Yep.
But then you look at something like Paul Revere, and by comparison at the time, you had no one who could outflow the Beastie Boys. No one. And then you take that influence, combine it, like it's kind of like baking, right? I'm cracking this joke, and Mike is smiling very broad, because we're doing like this whole homesteading thing here at Echo Base. Shout out Echo Base. Uh, but it's kind of like baking. Like, you add this, you mix that, you find what works for you. So you take one part Beastie Boys, you take one part Slayer, you get License to Ill. You take one part Beastie Boys, one part House of Pain, and one part Steve Vai, and you've got Limp Bizkit in 1997.
And with
Not saying Limp Bizkit deserves to be on this list. That's not what I'm saying.
no, and I understand what you're saying, because I will say, with the Beastie Boys, with License to Ill, I don't think anyone expected Paul's Boutique after License to Ill.
Oh no,
And it was
it
proven,
was,
because it didn't sell, but then, of course, 10 years later, everybody discovered, like, oh my God, this is amazing.
and watching Mixmaster Mike, and I'm not really a big DJ guy. Like, I have my particular tastes. Like, I love me some Wu Tang, love me some Snoop, some NWA.
When you started to say I thought you were going to tell me that you had like a that you DJ, that you had
Oh
like a
God, no, no, no.
that you were like spinning records somewhere.
No, no. Like, you look at the guitars on here, and I'm really just kind of banging on them like a caveman, like trying to put out fire. But but it's, I'm not like a big DJ guy.
Mhm.
Like, and watching someone like Mike be able to mix Back in Black with
Yeah.
songs like Dream On, where you
When
got
you're talented enough, you don't realize how good it can be until you see somebody who has that type of talent.
and it was it like, I saw the Beastie Boys at Bonnaroo in 2004, which will give many of you an idea of where my mindset was in 2004. But
I can't wait to hear your Burning Man stories.
I only have one,
Oh,
and
see, I was only
it is
kidding, but
not to be released for 50 years after I die. But you know, I mean, I saw the Beastie Boys in '04, and it was an absolutely amazing set. Um, Mind altering substances, not like notwithstanding, because we're recording this at midnight. Um,
after
but
midnight.
yeah, you know, just pop culture basement after midnight.
That's right.
We'll get Ron to share come on here and be like, up all night. But anyway, but you know, there's this. It's different when that group is no longer recording and you're witnessing the DJ playing just what comes to the soul, for a
Mhm.
lack of a better way of putting it,
Yeah.
by comparison to playing what the set list is. And it was very much a surprise appearance by Mixmaster Mike because he's buddies with the guys in Godsmack. And it was a short set, but it was a phenomenal set. And I don't know that I've seen another DJ, Wu Tang, Snoop, Nate Dogg. I don't know that I've seen another DJ set that was that good.
Yeah,
So
I think this list is sorely lacking in hip hop and rap artists, and I think some should be included. I mean, Mana. Do you know who Mana is? We're doing the bottom 20. They're at 25.
I looked
I have
into it.
no idea who Mana is.
Mana is based on what I saw. Dollar Tree Sade, harkening back
Because
to
I'm
pop
saying,
culture
like,
basement.
we're bringing up bands, or, we're bringing up artists who should be included, and we're going into hip hop and rap. I mean, the Fugees, if you're going to bring up a band. You're telling me that Paramore should be number 31 above Aerosmith and the White Stripes and Nine Inch Nails? And I'm not even an Eagles fan, the band, not the football team. And you're telling me that Paramore should be 31 and you can't put the Fugees in there?
Yeah, I that's another one that I didn't have any like, and and this is kind of the thing with me, right? So 44 is Cafe Takba. Okay, they're Ranchero, and for those of you who don't know, Ranchero is the equivalent of like Mexican country music. It's what they view as like what people in the hills listen to. It would be the equivalent of putting, and not to say that I don't like it, because I do. It'd be the equivalent of putting like Marty Robbins on this list. Is it good? Sure. Is it rock?
Yeah, and sometimes it feels like they put these things on there to seem, oh, we're so much, we're so much cooler than you are because we know about this artist. You're telling me that they should put on, I keep saying, because I can't say it, so I'm gonna keep making myself say it, Cafe Takva. You can't put Wilco on the list in the top 50 bands of all time. You can't put the Flying Burrito Brothers.
You can't put Primus.
Yeah.
I mean,
And we're gonna keep on going down. I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I like Earth, Wind, and Fire. I don't know if they should be on a top 50 rock and roll. And
I
I don't mean it in the same way that I'm talking about hip hop and rap and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know if Earth, Wind, and Fire should be included on the list. The band, I think, should be at their number 41. You're telling me the Blondie is better than the band? I think the band actually should be a little bit higher. I don't. I think Blondie has a place because of basically bringing punk into the mainstream.
I mean, to make that same argument, Blondie brought not only punk but rap. The first
Yeah.
commercially successful rap
Yes.
song,
Yep.
Rapture. But to make that argument, Blondie being really the first crossover artist between punk and disco,
Yep.
again, as much as it causes me a burning sensation in the cockles, why is Kiss not on here?
Kiss is not on there because they knew I was going to be recording a podcast about this, and they knew it would bring me great joy to not have to talk about Kiss on the top 50.
Yeah, well,
I'm not going to
again,
lie to you. The first thing I did when I saw this list, I said to myself, "Motherfucker, I got to see where they put Kiss on this list." And I looked up and down and I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're not on here."
but we've brought up multiple artists, including Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, including the Beastie Boys, that do deserve to be on this list, and I have the utmost respect for the band. I do.
I know what you're going to say, and I'm going to probably agree. Go ahead. I don't mean that. The band are. I will say this: go watch The Last Waltz if you've never seen it,
Yep.
because it's a great movie. Martin Scorsese. It's an amazing. If you're like me and you're into 70s rock and wish you were there and could have gotten to see this, and if you ever want to see Van Morrison in a one piece velour outfit doing high kicks while he's singing his ass off, which he always does, you're in for a treat. But the band they're another one, I think, a little bit where, I mean, obviously they're not the same as Queen, but the band, I love their greatest hits. I'm not the biggest fan of all their albums, other than maybe their first two. So I would get why they would probably be on a top 50 list, but I don't think they should be. I'm actually surprised they weren't higher. I thought they would be, because they're one of those bands that critics always rate.
Well, yeah. I mean, and they were great, but I don't know that I would call them rock.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, yeah, and that would get us into a whole. We might be up till 5 in the morning. We could
Yeah,
get into a whole conversation of what rock is and the definition of rock and the parameters of rock. I mean, is Parliament Funkadelic rock?
No, they're not,
They're not, and
and
I don't
like,
mean that in the bad way. I don't mean it in the way that
no,
some people
no,
might take it. I don't mean it in any kind of racial way. I think they're funk, and I think they're fucking awesome, but I
and
just don't think they're a rock
I
band.
love like we have two Parliament albums, and by albums, kids, I mean LPs.
Do you have Maggot Brain?
We do,
Yep, that's a great album.
we do. And we have Maggot Brain and we have UFO,
Okay.
and they're both sitting in Angie's antique icebox, along with all of our other albums. Because every time we go to Chicago, we go to a record store. That was the record store that was used for High Fidelity.
High Fidelity. You told me about that, yeah.
Yeah,
One,
and,
can you tell me the next time you go to Chicago? Because I'm driving to Indiana and I'm going to break into Echo Base and I'm going to like check out all of these.
yeah, I will give you a 4-day window.
Okay. Well, I mean, you could just invite me. I'll come by.
But yeah, I mean, like Reckless Records, shout out Reckless Records, and like, please sponsor Mike.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
But yeah, like if you want to find something, like Reckless is where to go. And the last 3 times we went, like I picked up something in my Scandinavian black metal, like symphonic, devil music, like my mom would call it. But but we picked up the Chronic on limited edition clear vinyl. But we also picked up Parliament Funkadelic. We've picked up Frank Sinatra.
Mhm.
And we've picked up other things like Jan and Dean's greatest hits. Jan
Ooh,
and Dean being
I
another
like
one of
that.
those bands that, I mean, we we did a road trip from east or western Missouri following a funeral. We took Route 66 from was the basically if you know the map, Uranus, the Uranus Fudge Factory, because they'll pack your fudge real good.
I'm sure.
Um, but we took Route 66 from there to Terminus in Chicago. And there's a point where you can go on to the old Route 66 and what's labeled as Dead Man's Curve.
Okay.
What else are we going to listen to but Jan and Dean's
Hell yeah.
Dead Man's Curve? While like we have a video on her phone of driving Dead Man's Curve while listening to Dead Man's Curve, which is kind of macabre, but
You have to do it.
you have to do it.
Yeah.
But where are they on this? Like, are they not in the
Well,
top
I mean, that brings
50?
up like a bigger point. Like, I like Thin Lizzy, but does Thin Lizzy really deserve to be in the top 50 bands of all time?
How many Thin Lizzy songs do you know?
That one, maybe two. I'm sorry, two.
Boys Are Back in Town,
Mm-hmm.
Whiskey in the Jar,
Yes.
Jailbreak.
Sorry, three. You're right. Three. Yeah. And these are the things like I'm not diminishing them because I'm sure they're, well, I hope, I mean, hopefully I have more than like two listeners, but I'm sure there's a Thin Lizzy fan out there that is right now cursing
Raging
our
at the
names
Burn.
and saying like, how can you not like Thin Lizzy? Doesn't mean I don't like Thin Lizzy, but I think of that like, we wanted to start this, we started like, well, we'll go with the bottom 25, but let's, when you go into the top 5, it's going to be the Beatles. Do I think the Beatles should be number 1? I personally do. They're my favorite band of all time. I know I would love to sit here and say like my favorite band is Pavement, and I love Pavement, but it's the Beatles. The Beatles should be number 1. Stones number 2. I think they should be number 2. Now, I will say Pink Floyd at 4. I'm not a big Pink Floyd fan. I understand why they're in the top 5. Zeppelin number 3. I understand. I totally get it. I get it. I don't know if they should be that high, but I get why they're there. But like I
And I
said,
would probably flop those two because
Zeppelin
I'm
and Pink Floyd.
yeah, because I'm more of a Pink Floyd fan than
See,
I
I
am
keep
Led
feeling
Zeppelin.
like I should listen to Pink Floyd's album because I think I'd actually like them. I don't know why. I just never got into them. I know the hits, obviously, growing up listening to classic rock radio in my dad's car. So I know all the hits. And
I think when you
Dark Side of
listen,
the Moon, but I don't know. I don't know why I never got into them. I just never did. So maybe I would
I
listen and I would say, "Oh, I really like this." I don't know why I was resisting this.
and I think if you listen wax to wax on their two biggest, The Wall and Dark Side of the Moon,
Mhm.
everything blends, everything merges together just almost so perfectly. And I say this, and I'm going to jump up the list a bit. I am not a Grateful Dead fan.
I'm not the biggest Grateful Dead fan. I like a couple of their songs. I get why they're on here. I mean, when I opened, when I went to go look at the list, I started to, you always expect the bands that are going to be on there. So I expected the Grateful Dead to be on there, and they are what, 16? I mean, I feel like that's right. I get why they're on there. As we talk about legacy, we talk about longevity. I mean
It,
longevity when you're going to talk about the Grateful Dead, but and I want to know what your perspective is. I'm thinking of when I think of these things, like I brought up with Queen. I love Queen. I do. I love them. I can sit there and listen to their greatest hits, and I can admire Freddie Mercury. I can remember my dad. I can remember it vividly driving with him. I must have been in high school because he wouldn't have let me sit in the front seat unless I was in high school. So I was sitting in the front seat, sitting next to him as he drove into Center City, Philadelphia, and we were listening to WMMR, the the best rock station in Philadelphia. It's still one of the only rock stations left in the country that actually plays rock and is independent and has local DJs. And Queen was on, and he said to me, "Listen to this." He was like, "This lead singer, he could have been an opera singer. His voice is so amazing." And it was Somebody to Love. And that was one of the first times I can remember hearing Queen before even Bohemian Rhapsody. So since I was a kid, I love Queen. I love their
Right.
hits, but I don't think they should be the 5th greatest rock band of all time. I don't think Fleetwood Mac should be the 6th greatest rock band of all time. I understand their influence. I understand their record sales, especially for Rumors. I can remember uh, going through my dad's record collection and seeing Rumors there because he owned it, probably like most people in America in 1977. And Fleetwood Mac is another band that I love their greatest hits. I will go on Apple and put on their
I
their playlist and listen to, and it's always going to be their most played song, so it's mostly their hits. And I get why they're influential, but I would say that I think other bands should be higher up and before them. I would even say Black Sabbath should be before them, and I'm not even a Black Sabbath
well,
fan, but just for basically
and
creating a whole genre of music, I think that you should be a little bit higher on this list of rock bands.
and I would agree because I mean, if you take a look at, and there's a great documentary series called The Genealogy of Metal, and like if you take a look at that series, the big like the Big Bang is Steppenwolf,
Yes.
right? And we've talked about Steppenwolf, and Steppenwolf as an influence. If you're talking about influence, should be on this list somewhere. But the
Well, we could do
first
a whole
coining of the
podcast
term,
about the evolution of hard rock into heavy metal. Also, I
exactly.
mean, a band like The Who and the Stones are right there developing hard rock, and then you move on to the Doors, who are developing hard rock, and then you go into Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. But Black Sabbath, for what heavy metal, I know people would think, okay, Led Zeppelin, but I think Black Sabbath is more of what heavy metal came to be known as.
Well, and there's this very interesting divergence that takes place in the style of music. So you have Black Sabbath, who, due to Tony Iommi cutting his fingers off,
Hmm.
tuned down their guitars to a what they call a drop D tuning. Normally it's EAD GCB, or no, I'm drinking, so I got
You could say anything, and I
EAD
would say yes because I don't know. I don't
GBE,
play instruments, so I'd
but
be like, sure.
you tune every string down one whole note rather than just a sharp, or even just dropping the top string, which is what Nirvana and Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, a lot of their tuning was what they call drop D, which is where you take that lowest string and tune it from an E to a D to give you that ability to just play with essentially two fingers. Um, but Black Sabbath, because of what happened to Tony Iommi, they had to tune their all of their instruments down a whole musical step. So from E to D and all the way down across the strings. There's this divergence that takes place at the same time. You have Black Sabbath doing that. You have Led Zeppelin with their playing in standard tuning for the most part. I mean, there's some deviance, obviously, because Robert Plant is a guitar virtuoso. We're not going to get into that.
Jimmy Page.
Damn it. This is what happens when I drink.
That's all right, man.
But I've lost my,
I
take the
know what you
corner off of my
meant. Go
guitar player
on, don't
card.
worry about it.
Um, but you can actually look at the course of music from both forks in this metal family tree. Those who were the most heavily influenced by like Led Zeppelin are bands like Judas Priest, are bands like Iron Maiden, and then you get into more of the power metal side of things and like the to the point where you're at now where you have bands like Sabaton or you have bands like Unleash the Archers where it's or even the best Windrose where it's literally artists cosplaying as dwarfs and their main song is I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole. Diggy diggy hole.
Hold on, I'm writing this down so I can listen to this after we're done
Dude,
recording.
it's
How is Guar not on this list?
I can understand why Guar's not on
No,
this list, and
I'm kidding.
I have the stained shirts to prove it, but
I just think it's amazing to think that, and I'm a Zeppelin fan, I'm not a Zeppelin super fan, but I still find it amazing that they were the biggest band in the world. And I mean, my favorite Zeppelin song is Traveling Riverside Blues, which wasn't even released until what, 1991 when they put out the box set.
yeah.
What they did, I mean, such a heavy band, but and I know they stole a lot of it because they, I mean, they were taking stuff from Robert Johnson and stuff, but it still doesn't. You could still listen to When the Levee Breaks and just be amazed by that song.
Well, and
And everybody thinks, I think people who are just casual listeners think, okay, well, Led Zeppelin, they're a heavy metal band, but like listen to Led Zeppelin 3, where they totally changed their sound and became like folk rockers almost, and not
yes,
really because it's still hard
it's
rock,
still hard, but I mean,
but it's
you
not.
take songs like the Immigrant Song,
Mhm.
for example. Blind Guardian, who is like their big claim to fame is that they have an entire concept album written about Lord of the Rings.
Mm.
Blind Guardian from Germany covered the Immigrant Song because it's that same style. But
Well, you
then
could
you
also
take
cover half of Led Zeppelin stuff because Robert Plant was a huge Tolkien fan. So I mean,
exactly, right?
I mean, he's
So, I
singing
mean,
about he's singing about ring wraiths and Gollum straight up. So
but it's still you can see those influences in that leg. And then you take Black Sabbath. Without Black Sabbath, you don't have bands
and
like
Black Sabbath also. And speaking as somebody who is not, I don't own any Black Sabbath albums, but totally misunderstood as, oh, they're like so satanic and everything like that.
no,
I
they
mean,
were a hippie
Ozzy
band.
said it. He's like, we are not. He's like, we're not at all. I mean,
Uh,
they leaned into the image because they knew that that's what would help them sell albums, but they're not.
so there's this great story that Geezer Butler, the bass player, tells. Like one, you have Tony Iommi, who is on his last day working in a steel plant in Birmingham, working at a steel cutting position that someone had taken the guards off of and cuts the tips of
Yep.
these three fingers off. And that's the ring, the middle, and the pointer finger on his left hand. And he's like, I'm a guitar player. I'm getting ready to quit to play guitar. So Geezer Butler, what does he do? He goes to the library. He goes to the Birmingham Library, and they have this whole section on English history. And one of the things was a book on forbidden music.
Hmm.
And it was what they called the Devil's Triad. That opening chord from Black Sabbath, that boom, 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 they thought in the Middle Ages it would summon the devil. And they were like, let's just lean into it, tune your guitars down because it has to be done at a lower tuning. Well, what do we call it? Well, let's just call it Black Bloody Sabbath, right? But if you listen to like War Pigs, and I think everyone here knows War Pigs, it's a war protest song.
Yep.
They were literally a bunch of hippies who were living in working class England at the time. And due to circumstances that were unforeseen, had to reduce the tension on their guitar strings, and it literally led to bands who are on this list. Metallica. Without Black Sabbath, you don't have Metallica.
Nope.
You don't have, honestly, you don't have Rage Against the Machine. You don't have Guns N' Roses. Honestly, without Led Zeppelin, you don't have Def Leppard.
I mean, without Led Zeppelin, you don't have Aerosmith, which, I mean, people think of them as contemporaries, but I've seen interviews with Steven Tyler, and I agree. Everybody always compared them to the Stones because, yeah, he looks like Mick Jagger, and they had the Toxic Twins. It was like the American Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. They're more akin to Led Zeppelin than they are
Well,
to the Stones, I would say. In that, especially in the 70s, with that grittiness, with mixing the blues with a harder sound. I always thought that Aerosmith was way more akin to Led Zeppelin than the Stones. They looked like the Stones, but they sounded more like Zeppelin.
well, and if you look at it from that perspective, without Led Zeppelin, you don't have Rush, who is not on this
I was
list.
going to say, I'm very
And that's
surprised that Rush is not on this list. And I have, spoiler alert, I recorded an episode. Was it my second
oh
episode? Oh
well,
my god! Oh
shit!
my
Look at
goodness!
that!
Oh my goodness!
Holy shit!
He's alive.
Hey, Bill.
He's alive. We're only an hour and 6 minutes into the podcast, and you finally decide to show up.
I'm an old man. I fell asleep in my chair.
I know. Well, I will look at him wearing the Black Sabbath shirt, like he knew we were
Yeah,
talking about it too.
he's wearing Black Sabbath. I'm wearing They Live.
And I have just a regular gray shirt on. But I will say in the introduction, I did wonder if you were in an alley somewhere, passed out in your own vomit.
It's called I set an alarm. And literally, the alarm, I literally put the phone down, and all of a sudden I go, all right, the alarm's set, great. Next thing I know, I look at my watch, I go, fuck.
I'm just
I
laughing because this is going to be like another 4 hours of the podcast now.
Oh, geez,
I
yeah.
literally go to myself, I go, the plane, I said, wait a minute, I looked at what time it was. I said, we're recording this at 11, 12 at night, and I go, yeah, the plane hasn't gotten off the ground yet. I think I got time. I'm going to go jump on.
I did. You can ask Anthony. I said to him, I was like, I bet you he jumps on at some point, and he's going to be on here.
Yeah, like he thought you were, in an alley somewhere, passed out, and I was like, well, I mean, we're all aging alternative icons, so maybe he's taking the Kiss approach to things of I want to party all night or I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. But then as you get older, it's more like I want to rock and roll for a little bit, but then watch Matlock and go to sleep.
Matlock! Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I saw the list and I literally looked at it and I was like, okay, they had the intern do this, and that's the only thing that makes sense to me. It's getting to the end of the year. The intern had its special. I don't know where you guys were. Where I worked, they give the interns they hire them for like a year, like 6 months. They don't just do the summer anymore. They just hire them for 6, 8 months, and you can tell the intern did this because I looked at it, I go, no, I had 2 bands I didn't even know of, and I got pretty good music knowledge.
There we go. Thank God. I thought I was the only one.
And 2 or 3 Spanish bands. I'm like, who? And I'm like, okay, you're taking some.
No,
Spanish...
the Who were on there. Don't worry.
Yeah, the Who were on there. Yeah.
Yes, which who was not on there. Yes.
First.
Not the Guess Who. The Guess Who were not on there.
Guess Who were not on there. I bet.
I mean, it's funny that you bring up like the intern side of things because honestly, that's kind of what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's they got the 20-year. I would call this the 2025 almost famous list.
Yes.
In so much as you're getting the new guy who's like, hey, come up with a list. We'll post it on here.
I mean, because you're getting groups like, okay, I mean, if you want groups that have affected rock and roll, okay, I do not see two bands on here which I think have had a sound. They've affected rock and roll, and I don't see them on the list. Is any incarnation? I'm gonna go old. I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna say, I would say, Starship, Jefferson Airplane, And then if you really want to go back, the Great Society, yes, it had some bands in common. Yeah, you had Grace Slick.
Mm.
We're gonna go back that far. I don't see them there. They had an icon in the San Francisco. They were like the Dead, had an effect in the San
I would put
Francisco
them on
sound.
par with the Velvet Underground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would put them more recognizable than the Velvet Underground. As much as I love Lou Reed,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think John Q. Public would know them more than they would know the Velvet Underground.
Yes. And I'm gonna go another one. Cream.
Cream,
I
yeah.
was going to bring up Cream. I'm very surprised that Cream is not on there.
I'm very surprised just because I mean,
Wait, you're
yeah,
telling me that you're going to put Cream over Paramore? Come on, Bill.
yeah, yeah. I mean, okay, was the
I mean, come on,
band
Tales of Brave Ulysses. Bah, that's amateur hour.
I mean, good news for Metallica. Jethro Tull didn't make it.
Oh my god. That's a callback. That's a callback.
It is. Watch or listen to the sequel, 1989, out now.
I mean, if you look at the top, I'm sorry if I'm trying to pull like a Steve Buscemi here. Donnie, you walk into the middle of conversation like a child.
We knew you were, dude. We knew you were coming.
Yeah. I do not know what's mentioned. I apologize. I will do my
No,
Donnie.
we started out trying to do this very, very professionally, and then it just evolved into us. As I said in the beginning of the episode, we went outside, we shook our fist at the clouds, and then we walked back in here and started to record because we
The
are
Monty
old.
Python and the Holy Grail School of podcasting. We have
Yes,
an
very much
idea,
so.
and then it pretty much degrades in us fist fighting the police and historians at the end of it. Okay.
Yes,
Got
the
it.
Oh,
absolutely.
the police, they're not on there either.
No, they're not on there.
They're not there either. But I mean, if you look at the top, what I call I'm gonna play old man shaking his fist at the crowd. If you look at the top five, and I mean, I hate to say it, you go into your I don't even know if kids still shop at Hot Topic or FY. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
They
thank you,
do,
Mike, for
kinda.
laughing,
Kids.
But you know exactly what I'm talking about. That
Ah,
okay, if you go into Hot Topic or you go into your what I call record stores right now, wherever people. I just saw the FYE at my local mall just closed. But basically, you go into whatever people pass for music. If you ask a 20 something on the street uh, and said, name me five greatest bands of all time, and you're gonna get, I'm surprised given the fact the other day I saw like I was coming home from work and I saw like a kid and they had to be like maybe 4 or 5 years old. I mean, I commend the parents for this, but they had a Nirvana shirt on. They were like this 4 or 5 year old kid and they had like the Nevermind shirt on. I'm like, all right. I mean, got the kid kind of raising the kid right, but interestingly enough, and that was kind of but I look at it and I'm like, because especially number seven sticks in my craw, where early, early U2 they had it, then And I'm going to say it. I really don't care. People can boo me. They can write letters. They can write you letters. Okay, they can write you letters.
Yeah,
Oh
it's a
God,
podcast.
They can write you letters.
friggin' Bill, get me in trouble.
That's right. But I mean, I'm going to say it, and you're going to be absolutely right. Where okay, Bono the musician, they knew it. Then they started. Then Bono started going, "Oh no, we have to do this now. We have to do that now." And you know, Bono the finger wagger.
Here, let me say this. I brought up, and I'm gonna go the roundabout way, but I brought up. You're bringing up U2. I brought up Queen. I love Queen.
I do too.
I don't think Queen should be the number 5. Should be number 5 on this list. I think Queen is a greatest hits band, meaning their hits are immaculate. I wouldn't go buy their album and sit there and say I'm going to listen to an album. U2, I feel the same way. I'll listen to U2's greatest hits and I'll enjoy it, but I'm not going to go and buy a U2 album and listen to a deep cut. And it's the same thing with Queen.
And I'm going to go the other route. Like I can listen to the Joshua Tree stem to stern. I don't know that they deserve a place on there over some of the other bands we've mentioned, like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Cream, or Rush.
And I even think
I wouldn't put them at 7.
I even think like CCR is too high up on this list.
Yeah,
and I will admit to you, if you look, they had a run in like a 2-year run where they released like 5 albums in 2 years, and they were pumping out hits. But I think they're another band that their hits are amazing. I don't know if their albums hold up as well. So I think they deserve a place on the list. I don't think they should be. They are, what are they, 14? I don't know if Creedence Clearwater Revival deserves to be the 14th biggest rock band of all time.
I mean, they did. I mean, if you look at a lot of their hits, I mean, they were the bar band and cover night. Okay,
but over the Beach Boys.
Yeah, I mean, okay, are we? I mean, maybe people think the Beach Boys now, which is, you know, Mike Love and his.
Oh God!
I mean, they played. I mean, the Boston Pops. Usually, I watch the Boston Pops because usually they'll kind of infuse music on July 4th. Big thing in Boston. And one year they had on them the current incarnation of the Beach Boys, and they couldn't even air them live because it had a big storm come through Boston. So they usually record the concert the night before and play it. And I don't know what frequency these boys were at, but I believe you had to howl to appreciate it. I mean, these guys were just. I mean, Mike Love thinks he's still got it. He don't.
I will make the argument that we saw the Beach Boys 2 years ago, and as a nostalgia act, they were great. Now, granted, you also, and Mike and I discussed this in one of the earlier episodes. Listen now. But, you know, you had John Stamos with them. So you had like the dual nostalgia act of Uncle Jesse playing drums and guitar with the Beach Boys. But I will note it was the Boston Pops is in Carnegie Hall.
Esplanade.
Where we saw them was an outdoor venue.
This is an outdoor venue for this.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, they play in the S.
And I'll even argue, I understand, and I'm saying this, you're bringing up that earlier episode, that made me seek out their 70s stuff, which I really like, actually.
It's
weird,
so experimental.
It's experimental. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But the Beach Boys in the 60s, I mean, they were basically the American Beatles at that time. They were pumping out hits. I understand what their legacy is. Pet Sounds, which inspired Revolver and Sgt. Pepper. I get it. I think they should be higher for what they are. Now, like Bill is talking about, I don't want to go and see I don't know if I want to deal with Mike Love. And I think they're more of a nostalgia. I mean, I think it would be, if you're a big enough fan to go see them, I think it would be very cool to go see them if you're, you know, if you're a fan. But for what they were and for what they mean to music, I think they should be higher than Creedence Clear. I think they should be higher than AC/DC. I think they should be higher than Metallica.
Brian Wilson was a genius, and
He was.
I
He's a
will,
mad genius, but he was a genius.
Yes.
I mean, okay. And Mike, we've discussed this on. I think we discussed this in the Rolling when we talked about the Rolling Stones. Okay, art is made. I've made this position many times. I've been on with you, and I'll make it again. Art, brilliant art. I don't care if it's motion picture, paintings, Grecian urns. Okay, art is made by some severely great art is made up by even some of this list. Okay, we're talking about some of the musicians on this list. Okay, great art is made by some severely fucked up people.
Yep. That's why you don't see Menudo on this list.
Well, one act I didn't see. I mean, even at 50, I wouldn't put them at like top 10 or anything. I mean, I know they're still touring because I saw them not 2 summers ago. One's at a casino, and then I saw them the couple years before that was Blue Oyster Cult, and I know they're still touring, and I think I don't know which one they've filled in for, but I know it's still the original lineup except like 1 or 2 guys. And
Well, and I mean, if you look at even the lower end of this, as you know, angry goth and raging at the guard that I am, I love Nine Inch Nails. I don't know that they deserve to be over
Yeah.
the Eagles. I don't know that they deserve to be over Santana.
See, I don't know if Santana deserves to even be that high. I get it. I don't know. When you talk about, and this brings me back again. See, I think REM is way too low. I think Pearl Jam, and I think that'll divide a lot of people, is way too low.
What he means by a lot of people is me.
I actually didn't, but I didn't know.
No, I can totally accept Pearl Jam.
Well, I was gonna say to Bill, like, beforehand, and I don't mean to cut you off, but like, we don't know what the criteria is that they're going by with this. And I was saying to Anthony, like, okay, if we're going by our own criteria, I'm thinking of longevity. I'm thinking of sales. I mean, you have to always put that in there. And I'm thinking of how their legacy inspired other artists.
Well,
And that's why somebody like Oasis, which we brought up, I don't think they deserve a spot in the top 50 because I think they had one big album and they're basically Gen X Beatles and took their whole identity from the Beatles.
Well, to make a similar argument, I mean, the Allman Brothers Band had a good 5 years before Greg Allman killed himself. Do those 3 albums put them at 28 over bands like
Maybe. Just because they kind of created, and it brings up another band, and that's why I love this episode and why we're going to be here until 6 a.m. How do you have the Allman Brothers, but you don't have Leonard Skinner?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that's two bands right there that basically created Southern rock.
The Southern fried rock sound of
Yeah.
the 70s. Yeah, I mean, I can think those are the two right there, Allman Brothers, Skinner.
And I get what Anthony's saying, but there can also be a run of albums. You can't always be Led Zeppelin where you're banging, or the Beatles, or Pink Floyd where you're banging out 5 straight albums that are iconic. The Allman Brothers, though, can put out 3 straight albums that create a whole new genre of rock and that are untouchable. Especially Eat a Peach is pristine. But then you have Live at the Fillmore East, which is a live album. And Bill said we talked about the Stones, and I think Get Your Yayas Out may be the greatest live album, rock album of all time. But Live at the Fillmore East is a great live album. And so it's, I don't know what the criteria is. I mean, we can come up with our own criteria, and I think that's what we're doing is we're just rambling about this. I don't know what Billboard
So
put into this.
devil's advocacy here then, and I feel like I'm going to be that guy through the remainder of this and probably since the beginning. But if you're talking about a run of 3 great albums and the rest of a catalog that still lasts to the point of where we even went to go see them. We went to Chicago 3 years ago to go see another band which will never be on this list, but I love them.
Was it
And
Chicago? No.
in Chicago, yeah, not Chicago.
No, I'm kidding.
But that's another one that, you could make an argument for
Sure.
longevity.
Yep.
But we went to go see Electric Callboy in Chicago, and on our way up, we scored tickets to Pearl Jam at the United Center. So what was originally a plan for a single show became a 2 show, and it was, even not being a big Pearl Jam fan, I recognize who they are, and what they've done for music. You take 10, then Versus, then Vitalogy.
Yeah. Wow.
I did.
I know where you're going with this. Go on. I'm sorry.
Are they necessarily lower than the Allman Brothers Band? And you're talking about another group that was heavily influential in creating a new genre of music.
Well, listen, you bastard, because I'm going to have a friggin' Pearl Jam episode that I'm going to do and go over their whole discography. So I don't know how much I want to get into it, but I get because I've heard this argument before with Pearl Jam. And see, this is what I love about something like this, where there's no definitive answers. I mean, when you're a fan of rock music in general, like I think the three of us are, and a fan of certain bands, you can have these type of arguments because I get what you're saying. Because I've heard this, it's a popular argument where Pearl Jam was so big and so influential, especially those first 3 albums, and then you get into, and there was so much that went into them kind of pulling back because they were the biggest band in the world, but they weren't making videos, and they were fighting with Ticketmaster, and they kind of pulled themselves back, and also purposefully made themselves a little bit non-commercial. But me as a fan, I can say, well, my favorite Pearl Jam album is Yield, which isn't one of those first 3 albums. 10 is probably one of the greatest debut albums of all time, but I've listened to 10 8 billion times. It's not my favorite Pearl Jam album, but for most people, it is, because that's the one that has all the songs that everybody knows.
And live, they only perform maybe 1 song off of it. Like, to the point of where there was this drunk, ignorant bitch in front of us who was just yelling, "Jeremy, Jeremy,
Oh my God.
Jeremy!"
Oh God.
Like I wanted to club her like a baby seal.
Where was this in Chicago?
Chicago, the United Center.
Yeah, Midwestern
and
people,
if you're
they're way too
listening-
nice. If that was in Philly, somebody would have clubbed her in the head with something.
Well, I thought my SO was going to, and I would not have stopped her. And the only reason I would not have stopped her is because as a male, I can't get away with that. But, but again, and I say this not being the world's biggest fan of either one of these bands, because my alternative tastes tend to run more towards like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Candlebox, Mr. Bungle, Faith No More. Does Pearl Jam deserve to be at number 30 while Nirvana's at number 10?
See, I understand why they have Nirvana at number 10. I think they're always going to be rated up there because Kurt Cobain died. So they, it's almost like, and I don't mean this as one-to-one, but it's going to be like the Doors, where they have those albums and that's it, because Jim Morrison died, so that's all you have to talk about. And you have Nirvana, with those 4 albums because it's the 3 studio albums and the Live in New York, the Unplugged in New York. So that's all you have, and that's set in amber. And Nirvana was also the, they were the voice of a generation. They were the first. They brought grunge into the mainstream. I like Nirvana. I like them a lot. I like Pearl Jam more. And that's a whole. I did an episode on 90s grunge. Go listen to that. And I talk about it that I understand why Nirvana is more respected than Pearl Jam. But Pearl Jam is the band that survived, and they're the one that's still out there playing. And Nirvana, Kurt Cobain will always be 27 because that's when he died. So,
but if we're bringing up the 27 Club, Janis Joplin, Big Brother and the Holding Company.
We brought it up. I mean, we
said we did.
I didn't know. I was literally waiting. I'm like,
I mean, I don't know what they're. Again, we don't know the criteria because you can bring up. If you wanted to throw in Band of Gypsies to get in Jimi Hendrix, you can get
Hendrix.
You can get Hendrix in with Band of Gypsies.
Yeah,
but you just brought them up as well. The 27 Club, the Doors.
The Doors deserve to be on this list, and I've gone back and forth with the Doors in that, when you're a 13-year-old angsty teen, you get into the Doors, and my dad was a Doors fan, so I not only had the angsty teen-ness of it, but I also had the Oliver Stone movie coming out, and my dad was a Doors fan, so I grew up listening to the Doors. So you're like, oh my God, this is cool. Jim Morrison, he's like a poet. Oh, gee, oh my God. And then you hit that point where you're like, Jim Morrison's a freaking drunk. Like, come on, man. But I still go back and LA Woman, the album, is back to front, is a tour de force, is something that is no skips, and I love it. Morrison Hotel, back to front. I love it.
That's one of mine. Is Morrison Hotel is a.
Well, but you can say the same thing about Kurt Cobain, though.
Yeah.
He's a heroin junkie. I mean, to the point where even Weird Al said, it's hard to tell what the song's about with all these marbles in my mouth.
Yes. Yes. Okay, and I'm gonna make another position as a group. He's an iconic to music. He's not there, and I've probably seen him in concert at least 2 or 3 times. And I tell you what, it's a show and a half. And I met him one time, and I had a very loud Hawaiian shirt on, and he looked at me and he goes, "That's a loud shirt, and I'm Weird Al Yankovic."
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's not a band. I understand. Like, they're going by.
It's a solo act. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, Anthony, if you look at, she was a Janis Joplin. I mean, Janis never got past the fact she was the shy fat girl from Texas, and buried it a lot with, was known for warming up with Southern Comfort.
Yeah,
maybe a bottle before.
I mean, speaking of Jim Morrison, she famously hit him on the head with a bottle of Southern Comfort.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, Cheap Thrills is an iconic album.
Yes,
and it's a phenomenal album.
It is.
Another one of those my dad.
I have it down here. It's my dad's copy of it, and I can remember as a kid pulling it out and just looking at the cartoon on the front cover.
The R. Crumb cartoon.
Yeah, the R. Crumb. Yep.
The R. Crumb cartoon.
Before I knew who R. Crumb was, I remember discovering R. Crumb and being like, "Oh my God, this is the cover of Cheap Thrills."
Same. That's how I discovered R. Crumb too. Was through the Cheap Thrills album.
Yep.
And I mean.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it was one of those where, Janis could sing, and I mean, some of the songs they cover on this album are, gets a Big Mama Thornton.
Yeah.
And if you ever seen, kids, if you want to actually go listen to real music on YouTube, not synthwave of slush, go watch Big Mama Thornton sing.
Yeah. I'm just laughing because we keep saying kids. This is an album. Kids, if you want to see like somebody sing the blues, go.
Yeah, I mean, could we go Mayall and the Blues Breakers? Okay.
I don't know if they'd be in the top 50.
That's an esoteric enough of a
band. I don't know. I mean, I get it too. You have to have the popularity of certain bands too. But that's why I'm saying, like, number 25, Mana. I have no idea who Mana is. That's like having bread
Yes,
on this list.
bread.
Well, and again, like I said earlier, your angsty teen was the Doors. My angsty teen was the Cure,
Yeah.
right?
The Who. Mine. The angsty teen was the Who.
Uh,
Quadrophenia. But I mean, when I looked at it was pretty high, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, no, over some other bands is Blondie. I mean,
Yeah.
Debbie. I mean, if you look at some of the sound that crafted CGGB in New York, where it crafted that club, it crafted the New York punk scene of the 70s into the 80s, Blondie. Definitely, and I think
The Ramones are on there, and they should be. I mean, I
yeah,
understand they should be.
yeah, the Ramones, the Clash, Blondie, the Pretenders, another CBGB perennial.
So you're bringing up Blondie. Can I say real fast
go.
that, and as a big time fan of Ann and Nancy Wilson, not only for their musical contributions, but just of Ann and Nancy Wilson, how the hell is Heart number 17?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I'm not trying to diminish what Heart is and what they've done, but Heart should not be the number 17 band on this list.
I mean, I'm gonna go, and I know I'm gonna say the same thing with Sly and the Family Stone. Is Sly Stone an influential soul artist? Hands down. I mean, some of the work. I mean, the funny thing is, I see Parliaments on the list, Funkadelic, and I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, if anything, I mean, those were kind of the layouts of some of the more, the funk and the soul, the 70s, was Funkadelic and Sly and the Family Stone. They kind of, laid the ground together, and I'm like, I love Sly. I think it's a very influential band, but I'm like, number 9, like it just kind of like, because if you look at the sequence how they have it, it's literally Nirvana, Sabbath, and it's Sly and the Family. Then it's U2, Fleetwood Mac, Queen, Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, Stones, and the Beatles, and it's just kind of like, okay, there's at least all contemporaries around another. I mean, yes, Sly and the Family Stone was around the same time, but it's all kind of contemporary sounds, and it just kind of goes like, okay, and I mean,
Yeah, we brought this up earlier because we talked about funk and even hip hop and rap. I mean, I think it should all be under the same tent, but I think you can pick, because we brought up the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys, if you're going to bring, they're not even here. If you're going to bring Sly and the Family Stone, if you're going to bring in Parliament, and we had said this, we love this band, Parliament, Funkadelic, amazing.
Yeah,
I don't know if you would consider them for as influential as they are in funk. I don't know if you're making a list of the top 50 rock bands of all time, if they have a place. I would put the Beastie Boys into a top 50 list before I would put Parliament, Funkadelic.
And that was the thing. I didn't even see the Beastie Boys
Nope.
on there. And I mean, three Jewish kids from Brooklyn, okay, rapping their hearts out. All right, I mean,
but I mean,
rapping about Star Trek of all things.
And again, I would put the Beastie Boys above. Again, if this was based on like personal preference, the preference is subjective, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Looking at things historically, I put Beastie Boys above The Cure.
Yeah.
I'd probably put the campfire scene in Blazing Saddles over Oasis.
Oasis they do not belong in this list.
Yeah.
I would put the Beastie Boys over No Doubt. I can go through this list, but I could do the same thing for
No Doubt should not be in this list either.
I mean, okay. I mean, are they in
over Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers?
No,
come on.
Yeah. No, I mean,
absolutely not.
I just
Over
never
the
see it.
Doors, over Wilco, over the Strokes.
Yeah, it just kind of like just
I
kind
mean,
of
look at
goes
like
there.
if we're trying to wedge in Janis Joplin by bringing up Big Brother, and we're trying to wedge in Jimi Hendrix by bringing up, Band
No
of
doubt.
Gypsies.
Yeah.
How are the, if you want to try to get Rod Stewart in there, you can bring up the Faces.
Yes.
And again, I mean, it's the top 50, so I'm not saying
Well,
the
yeah, but
Faces. I'm not saying the
how
Faces
are
should be in the top 20 or 30, but when you have Paramore on a list of the top 50 greatest rock bands of all time, and you don't have the Faces on
Yeah.
there.
well, and how is Paramore on there over bands like, for example, Styx?
Well,
I
well, to do my best Frank Burns impression. Well,
uh, again, I can see where all of these bands have an influence.
when you
I
brought up
can.
Journey, I could make an argument for Journey just
Yeah, I could
because
too.
even Cheap Trick, which is not on
Fair enough.
there.
Cheap Trick, and I love me some Cheap Trick.
And Bill, I
But
mean, you weren't on earlier, but we already brought up Kiss.
Yeah, I think I was like on the thing because I started making a Kiss joke right when I was coming on. I heard, just like Kiss, and I'm like, all right, okay.
I was just happy that they weren't on there because anything that causes pain to Kiss makes my heart grow. I'm like the reverse Grinch. My heart grows when Kiss
I
is in
mean,
pain.
I mean, the one thing I do love watching in interviews, and you can tell, especially some of the interviews have made the rounds since the spaceman died, and you can tell over the years, even some of the later interviews, he was in there for the music, and it just pissed off Gene Simmons to no end, and he was just sitting there joshing around, probably high as a kite, did not give a shit
No, I
what
don't
was
think
going
Gene
on.
Simmons. I don't think is. Oh, you're talking about
Ace.
Ace. Okay,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Ace. I'm talking
Like
Okay,
about
I
Ace
thought I was gonna
quit
say I know
drinking in
Gene
the
Simmons
late
Yeah, I'm
famously.
talking
'80s.
about Ace Frehley,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
like, oh, I'll give you another band I've seen live. Okay, I would not put them like high up on the list, but they do have an icon. They do have a sound. They do have at least one dead member. I've seen them live. I have seen them live. It's actually one of the more interesting concert experiences. Anthony, you were saying he's at the United Center. I've seen him at Fenway Park, and I was like up in the. If you've ever been to Fenway Park, I was like in the grandstand of all grandstands.
Uh
Like literally,
Mhm.
I'm fighting a couple of Boston pigeons, for viewpoints here. A couple of gulls and pigeons for viewpoints here, and I saw the Foo Fighters, and literally, there was a couple in. Let me explain the scene. There was a couple in front of me, and they were probably going up every 5 minutes for like $50 cocktails. And me and my friend are looking at each other like, dude, we could have go home, buy a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue for what they had, and probably have money left over to go get a good dinner for ourselves and maybe a few cigars. And what they spent this evening. And then on the right of us, there was a guy. We got there maybe about, I think one of the headlining bands was Dinosaur Jr., and they were like,
huh.
maybe second or third into for the concert. And there was a guy around like maybe 5 seats down. And he looked like he'd been smoking it since, Jerry and Fish, since and I mean, I don't know what this guy was smoking. I mean, I know what he was smoking, but he was smoking a strain I think it was called "Kill All of Us." I mean, like to a
So it
point.
wasn't good, is what you're saying.
No, I mean, even look, I'm no connoisseur of weed, okay, but even I'm going, if there was a quality of weed comparable to peroties, I know you guys are cigar guys, so I will
Yeah.
use the analogy. If there was a weed strain comparable to peroties, this was it. And like some people behind us were passing it, I could smell it behind them. One guy got sick on my friend, got sick on me.
So it's like a normal Saturday night in
Yeah.
Boston.
Pretty much, only there was no fist fights and, there was no fist fighting, but that's
Hey,
pretty
I've
much
hung
it.
out in Southie before. I don't
You get it.
blame.
And so I come home we come home in my buddy's car, we reek of vomit and pot.
Oh,
I come in the house probably about 2:30 in the morning. My father was up, and because I went in the middle of July, and sometimes he didn't sleep well in the summer, so sometimes he was up, and he looked at me, he goes, "I didn't think you were much of a weed connoisseur." I go, "What?" He goes, "Dude, I lived in the fucking 60s, all right? Don't even try to
well,
the nose knows."
the best thing though to add to that story is because you're talking about Foo Fighters is my wife, who was only 5 years younger than me or 6 years younger. I brought up that I was like, that the lead singer of Foo Fighters, because she knows who Dave Grohl is. I'm like,
Right.
that Dave Grohl was the drummer for Nirvana. She's like, really? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, yes. She's like, I had no idea. And now listen, my wife is not, she is not up on pop culture at all, but still, it was like the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I started to actually age and wither in front of her when I brought that up, and she said, "No, I didn't know he was the drummer of Nirvana."
Well, see, and I'm about to commit heresy here, so ominous dominus.
Oh my God.
Madre
Yeah,
Padre.
yeah, exactly.
In
Yeah,
nomine
like we
Patris,
all have
Spiritus
Catholic built
Sancto.
it. Like the Lord is with you, and also with you. Lift up your hearts. We lift it up to the Lord.
Oh my God, I'm
Um,
flashing back to stop it. I'm flashing back to
What's your-
grade school.
Well, that
well,
was
so
nothing.
I'm assuming because Bill's from Boston, like you have two options being from Boston. You're either Irish Catholic or Italian Catholic, right?
12 years of Catholic
Mother's
school, baby.
my mother's family's Italian. My dad's family's Baltic. So yes,
There you go.
there's
Yeah,
Italian in the bloodstream. Yes.
yeah. So the cardinal sin here is that I'm more of a fan of the Foo Fighters than I am of Nirvana.
I mean,
So am
it's
To
I.
okay.
So am
I
I.
to the point of where, like, if we're like on a Friday night, if we're playing darts, or probably tomorrow night as we're preparing for Thanksgiving, playing darts and having a few drinks, if a Nirvana song comes on, I'm like, hey, isn't the guy from Foo Fighters in this?
No, I mean,
This is
he's
Angie
been in
off.
Foo Fighters for 30 years. He was in
Yeah.
Nirvana
I
for
get that,
like 6, so I mean, you're not wrong.
but I also look at it from her perspective, and it's really just me being a dick, and she knows it. And luckily, I'm very, very, very lucky that she loves me, because otherwise I'd probably get like a straight up punch in the face for it. But this is she's someone who at that point in time, what for me was The Cure and Nine Inch Nails and Ministry, and then getting into bands like Pantera, and then some of the
Anthrax.
and oh, dude, don't like my second youngest will still say to this day the only time she ever saw me show emotion was when she was riding with me in the car, and Got the Time came on, and she's like, I've never seen you like drum the beat with your foot while driving
Hmm.
until that point. But bands like that was, I'm far more on the aggressive side of things. She's she's more on, like, I would say on Mike and Bill, yours as well, wavelength of, she likes the groove, she likes the feel of it. Um and given time, I came to that point too. And I'm not a Beatles fan, but I can absolutely see where they are number one, because without the Beatles, you don't have this list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you go back to number 9, Black Sabbath, there's a great segment where Ozzy and Paul McCartney were both on Ellen
Yes.
before he
Yes.
died. and Ozzy is fanboying the
He
fuck
is.
out.
God,
Yeah.
and as somebody who is not, and when I say not, I don't mean I'm just not a. I was never super into Black Sabbath, but to see that and to see that pure emotion
Joy.
from Ozzy, like like he was meeting and Ozzy is an icon, and he's
And he's
meeting Paul
meeting
Mc,
his hero.
and you don't even know like that's what I mean. Like you can't even imagine what it is to be Paul McCartney, where somebody who is Ozzy Osbourne, who's a legend, is looking to you, and Ozzy is becoming a 15-year-old teenager because he's
Exactly.
meeting
Yeah.
a hero. And to be Paul McCartney, and that's just another day in your life where it's like, up, it's just another person whose life I changed. And I get what you're saying. I am a Beatles fan, and I think I said this on the episode we did, Bill, with the Stones, because the
Yes.
Stones are probably my number two. And I would love to we're going through this list, and I would love to be the guy who's like, well, I brought this up earlier. My number one band is Pavement because I'm a cool alternative guy. Listen, I love Pavement, but my number one band is the Beatles. It's not like it just is. And I didn't get into the Beatles until I was in out of high school. And
Yeah.
then I got into them.
And
My number two band is the Stones. I
Yeah.
know it's not like I am diverting from the norm. And I knew when I saw this list I knew who the top three bands were going to be. But like Anthony said, you're not going to have this list if you don't have the Beatles on there. You're not going to have this list if you don't have the Stones on there. And you're not going to have this list if you don't have Led Zeppelin on there.
I agree.
So that's why they're up there. And then everything else after it. And I
it's
think both of you
conjecture.
guys, I think both of you guys just said it. It comes down to personal preferences. Also, I'm always going to have Aerosmith high up there because they were the first band that I loved before the Beatles, before the Stones. They just were. And as much as I loved Pearl Jam in 1994, I don't listen to them as much as I did then. But I will still listen to Aerosmith all the time. I'll still listen to the Black Crowes more than I'll listen to Pearl Jam. And do I think the Black Crowes deserve to be on there? I don't know, but I like them. I think they deserve to be on there more than I'll say that more
Paramore.
than Green Day because I'm not a Green Day fan.
I would say Paramore. But
Yeah,
again,
I didn't want to. I didn't want to
can't.
bash Paramore again for all those Paramore fans that I have that
Well,
listen to the
like all
podcast.
four of them that are listening to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, they're,
Well, that's
they're,
the amount of
they're-
people that actually listen to the podcast, so I don't want to piss all
Oh,
them
well,
off.
shit.
yeah,
Sorry.
we don't want to cost the viewers at this
We're
point.
gonna skew the algorithm.
Don't fuck up the algorithm.
Those
Come
poor
on, man.
people, those poor people, man. I mean, you were talking about driving in the car with people, and it made me laugh a couple of weeks ago because I had to take my mother to her church on Sunday because she don't drive, and a lot of times in my car I will have on Sabbath.
Are you allowed to walk into the church, or do you like catch on fire as soon as you walk in?
The pastor is. I will tell another story in a second. Hold that thought. So what happened was I drove up. I'll usually have whatever's on my Spotify playing or whatever's on my phone playing. And usually, um, last couple weeks, I think it's been a little more metal just to kind of keep me awake in the morning. And usually when I put it on in the morning to get going, usually it's a lot of metal and stuff like that to get going. Just so I don't fall asleep on the train and miss my stop, and then I'm like stuck there and whatever have you.
Or miss your podcast.
Right, miss your podcast, exactly.
Sorry, I gotta bust your balls a little bit.
It's okay. It's all right. I'm okay with that. It's all right.
I had this whole big epic opening that I was going to say about you and Anthony being on the podcast at the same time, and you friggin' ruined it. Go
I
on.
blew it. I know. I know. We'll do it we'll do it again at some point. I think we were discussing other topics at some point, so I think it's okay.
When we do Star Wars, you better friggin' be on time.
I will be on time. But anyways, I had on Supernaut by Sabbath as I'm driving her up to church, and she's like, "Hey, this is pretty catchy." And my mother is like 4'11", loves the Beatles, would not even think Black Sabbath, and she's like, "Wow, this is pretty jamming. Can you turn it up?" I'm like,
Yeah, when they don't, and it's, when they
and I'm
don't
like,
know it, they don't care. If they think it's good, if you don't say it's Black Sabbath, then it's like, oh, this is really good. Then you say it's Black Sabbath, and
and I
it's like,
just
oh,
jammed,
wait.
I jacked it up, and we're sitting there jamming a super knot as we're going to her, pulling into her church, and she's like, "What were you listening to anyway?" I go, "Black Sabbath." She goes, "Oh, jeez." I go, "Don't worry
Yeah,
about it,
well,
Ma. You'll be fine. You'll be
well,
fine."
that's like, and it's not as, because I get the story, and it's all like we brought this up earlier with the whole Black Sabbath and the worshiping Satan and and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the worst part was earlier I had to go on a community meeting. I was on a meeting for a community group I'm with, and some of the people were faith based. So I'm sitting there just like, I'm like, this may not be the best idea. So I like throw a sweater on real quick and just like I'm not during the meeting.
But
Um,
I bring it up like with my mom, who, and I, like I just said with Aerosmith, when I got into them, and it was the Pump album. Again, we're tangenting back to old episodes when, like, I brought up when we did the '89 episode, Anthony, and I said like I super got into Aerosmith. So I was like, oh my god, I have all these albums to listen to from the '70s, and my mom loved Pump. She loved it. We went
yeah.
and saw Aerosmith in 1990. The Black Crowes opened for them. My mom and dad took me and my brother and my cousin. She loved it, and she said to me, I never liked them in the '70s. I just didn't like them. She's like, but I love them now. And it's like, you can, if you don't tell them who it is or your kids get into it, you know, who knows why and my dad was never like a big fan in the '70s. I was talking about the albums. Like, my dad was like a Doors guy. He was into Creedence Clearwater Revival. My dad wasn't like a Led Zeppelin guy. He was a Meatloaf.
And we've
My dad
discussed
was
this.
a Meatloaf guy because the album cover scared the hell out of me. I used to pull out the album cover with the guy
Bat out of
riding the
hell.
motorcycle out of the grave, and he used to scare the shit out, because I was a big pussy when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this discussion too. I mean, we've had this. Your father and my father were about the same age, and that he was a big, he was a big folk guy, and I mean,
Yeah,
he listened to some of this more, Janis Joplin. He loved the blues, but he listened to a lot more folk music, and that's one thing my mother did notice. She goes to me when we're driving. I had to go shopping and stuff. She looks at me. She goes, "Your music is a lot more happier than your father's." He would listen to a lot of the depressing folk music, and I didn't like. That's the only thing I never liked about your father. I said, "What's that?" Because he would listen to the depressing '60s folk music, and it was like great and all, but man, I was like, "Come on, dude!" Like,
Well, and
but here
you
you go.
know,
You're bringing up folk music. Anthony and I brought this up. No Crosby, Stills and Nash, or Crosby,
mm-hmm.
Stills, Nash and Young, and no Neil Young and Crazy Horse. You're telling me Paramore is better?
Yeah,
I know I'm beating up on Paramore. Listen, I have nothing against Paramore, but you're gonna tell me like 30 years from now, when they make another list, that Paramore is still gonna be on this list? And
guaranteed no, no.
no. And you're telling me Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young shouldn't be on here? You're telling me that Neil Young and Crazy Horse shouldn't be on here?
are you telling me the birds shouldn't be on here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Anthony brought that up earlier. Yeah, the Birds.
I
You tell me the
And,
Birds shouldn't be on here?
I mean,
and
Who,
my
who the Birds? I mean, people think of Bob Dylan, solo artist, so you can't bring him up, but people know Bob Dylan's songs. But what they don't realize is his songs got popular because bands like the Birds covered his songs
yep.
and
It's just
made
or
them
or
the
bands
popular.
like
Rain
the Jimi
Man,
Hendrix
Yeah, or
Experience.
bands like Jimmy. I mean, even
Hendrix.
Bob Dylan has said that Jimi Hendrix, all along the Watchtower, his version of it is better than his version.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and and like my parents are like my parents are from my mom is from Shively, Kentucky. My dad is from Floyd Knobs, Indiana. So like their taste is very contradictory to mine. Like, my mom, give her some old Hank, like senior and junior.
Mm-hmm.
Give her some outlaw country, give my dad and both my mom and my dad, what they had in common was, music-wise, was, like Dan Fogelberg
Mm-hmm.
or Captain and Tennille. They like AM easy listening was what we heard our entire lives. So, if you were to take my parents' perspective of the best groups on here, number one on this, I mean,
The Carpenters.
because of the popularity of the Beatles, but probably easily a number two would be the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
My mom grew up in that era of time where, the popular dances were the Batootsie,
Yep.
and the most popular movies were Frankie and Annette. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly, Bill.
But you bring
So
up a good point that everybody is gonna, even though obviously that, I got into music so much that I went back and found bands from the past, and then I got into my own music. My music was not probably, the most was 89 to the mid 90s, because that was when I was consuming everything and I was laser focused into my fandom. So it was Aerosmith, which led to Pearl Jam, which led to Nirvana, which led to, and I bring up the other one, which led to Pavement, which led to Wilco, which led to the White Stripes, who are on there, and I think they should be
Mm-hmm.
higher. And everybody's going to have that. And I keep making fun of something like Paramore, but I guess, we brought up, like we said, like, well, we're not going to bring up Limp Bizkit. There's somebody out there who's going to say, well, Limp Bizkit should be on there. I don't think they should be on there.
well,
I think if you grew up a little bit before me, Van Halen should be higher than they are for what they, we're bringing up Black Sabbath and Zeppelin as the forebearers of heavy metal and hard rock, and then you have Led Zeppelin. Then you have Van Halen, who brings it to the masses and makes it that much popular, and also survives a lead singer leaving and stays almost as popular as they were before.
Yeah.
three of them.
Yeah, I know. I don't acknowledge Gary Sharon. I'm sorry.
You're
I don't.
using more than
I'm not
words
gonna
here,
lie.
but
I totally forgot about Gary Sharon when you brought up when you put the three fingers up. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Gary Sharon was in Van Halen.
Well, two things.
yes.
I don't see another metal group that kind of did some foundations to heavy metal. Two of them actually. I mean, you got Motorhead and you got Steppenwolf.
I was thinking of Anthony brought up Steppenwolf, and I totally get that, because they should be,
And I
especially with
will.
and
I
Motorhead. I think has a place on there.
Motorhead definitely probably should have a place on here. I will. Let me bring the lights up.
Judas Priest is not
Judas
on
Priest
there.
is
It's
another
not
one.
on there as well.
But like, there's a reason why I'm growing the beard the way I am.
there. Dude, if I saw
But
Anthony in a back alley somewhere, I would turn around and start walking away really fast.
that's a solid nope. But yeah, no. But again, it's still, again, taste is subjective,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I mean,
But even taste notwithstanding, some of these are not rated correctly.
agreed.
Yeah.
Others are even looking at as objectively as I can. Again, as an aging alternative icon. Sorry, I stole that line from Henry Rollins, who I saw live in '99, and I'm actually in the audience for his think tank at the Aragon Theater in Chicago in '99.
See, this is why when people listen to this episode, it's like, this is why I have these two guys on here, because they friggin' know their shit. It's not like I just like picked up 2 people off the street to talk about this stuff.
It's like
Like, here's $2. You give us just talk on the mic.
Like seriously though, I mean, even as much as I like AC/DC, I don't know if they should be number 13.
No.
Like, can
But-
I ask you this? And again, like I
Sure.
said, like we realize that I am out of the 3 of us probably the biggest Aerosmith fan. Should AC/DC be ahead of Aerosmith
No.
No.
in both of your opinions?
I mean, no. I mean, AC/DC is definitely
And that's not taking anything away from AC/DC.
no. And I'm not saying. I mean, they're a great band. I mean, they did the soundtrack to one of my favorite movies,
To
Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive. That's
There you
right.
go.
The
Because
Stephen
when you
Green
mean
Goblin.
Green Goblin truck.
the
Yes.
Stephen King cocaine fueled epic.
Yes, it was. Oh
It
my
has-
god.
It had more cocaine than even Bolivia could supply.
And Stephen King will gladly tell you about that too.
Yeah, he was high on the nose candy.
Oh,
while
yes, he
making this
was.
movie.
He was so high, he was like, "Oh, I can direct this movie. I
can do this."
Yeah, sure."
And you can tell sometimes cocaine could get an associate producer credit during that movie. And I mean, is AC/DC iconic? I mean, yes.
Yes.
As a metal, I believe, look at the time of the world where you had, like the 70s, they came in from Australia and they came into a time where metal was blossoming. You had Zeppelin, you had kind of the golden era of both.
But I think like AC/DC lives off of Back in Black.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
again, I'm saying that as I'm not saying that to take away from them because Back in Black
it's an album.
is a great album, and you think of it in how it came out. You lost a lead singer,
Mm-hmm.
and you get a new lead singer, put out an album, and it's one of the biggest albums of all time. And Bon Scott, I don't think. I mean, fans like us, so we will know about it. But Bon Scott, as a singer, as a personality, it's hard to replace. And to find somebody, to find Brian Johnson and say, okay, here you go, be our lead singer now, and to knock it out of the park on like the first pitch, and you hit a grand slam.
And I mean, one other band did it, but didn't do it as well. I mean, I think didn't do it as well, and they're on this list. And I will gladly say it is Queen. I know Queen is still touring. They've got Adam Lambert.
Yeah. I mean, they're not.
I mean, nobody can stand in for Freddie Mercury.
I mean, that's a money grab. It's fine.
That's
it's
a
like
money grab.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's like if you want to go.
Well, I
and
mean,
see
Brian May
it's
has
fine.
to pay for his doctorate.
Sure.
You got to pay for that telescopes. You got to pay for that astrophysics research somehow. Exactly.
I mean, that's not the same as AC/DC or Van Halen. They're not like they're not a recording band where they're saying, okay, we're a band now and we're gonna put an album out. I get it. I mean, I wouldn't pay to go see them because it's like, what's the point? But
there's no appeal.
Yeah, I saw them almost 30 years ago, and it really was kind of the strangest tour because like their openers were Buck Cherry, Morbid Angel, and then AC/DC. Yeah, a weird yin yang there, right?
Yeah.
No, it was. I mean, is it necessarily any stranger than? And I'm glad that they didn't make the list. Like when I saw Kiss on the Psycho Circus tour, their openers were Ted Nugent.
Ugh. Huge Nuge.
Live, he's phenomenal.
I'm sure.
He's a horrible human being.
Yes.
And I accept
hey man,
that.
with this whole list, you got to separate the people from the music. I mean,
we've already, I mean, Anthony, we've mentioned Clapton, and that's all I'm going to say on the matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even Aerosmith. As much as I love Aerosmith, it's like, all right, Steven Tyler was going to a 13-year-old's parents and saying, "Yes, I'll become her legal guardian so she can come with me on tour." Oh, it was the 70s.
Yeah.
It was the 70s. Their parents were like, "Sure, why not? Yeah, I'm sure it'll
Why
be
not?
fine."
That sounds like a good
Yeah,
idea.
that sounds like a
and
good
Make
idea.
sure you have her back by the time the street lights come on.
But yes, so
But
we have to totally, a lot of these bands, we have to separate the art from the people.
I mean,
the
even
art
if,
from the artists.
I
Yes.
mean, even if we're gonna go, I still remember a couple of years ago when you talk about ACDC. I remember when Axl Rose, took over for Brian Johnson when he had
Yeah.
some surgery. Somebody I knew went to go see that show. I guess they were playing Great Woods. For all you, I'll say Great Woods for all you old Boston people out there that listen to the podcast.
Yes,
know
I'm
what
sure
I'm
there's
talking
I'm sure
about.
there's so many Boston people listening.
I don't know if there is. I mean, if there is, great.
I
I'll say
expect you to
great.
be out with a
Ring at the bell,
with a mic, yes, like Paul Revere running through the streets
Ring
saying,
at the
"Listen to this
bell."
podcast."
That's right. But I mean, if anybody does say Great Woods, there was the Tweeter Center, but now I'll still call it Great Woods.
Yeah, that's everything. We have a place here right across the river in Camden where it's changed names like 8,000 times.
Yeah, same.
It'll always be Deer Creek to me.
Yeah, we have
right.
a tweeter center that'll always be the tweeter center to us.
Yeah, and they said that, I guess, when Axl Rose played with AC/DC, I said, "How was it?" And they just looked at me and went, I didn't know you had to bark to appreciate the concert. I mean, I guess Axel was taking it on, and I mean, it's just like they said, people were walking out because literally, it was just like making everybody's ears bleed. And I mean,
Well,
that's how bad it was. And it was
Well,
like,
we haven't gotten into the Guns N' Roses of it all either, because I saw
so
when I went on there, I saw people complaining that they were either too high or too low. I mean, Guns N' Roses, as much as Anthony was talking about Pearl Jam, were their first 3 albums. Listen, I like Guns N' Roses, not love, but I mean, you talk about a band that might be living off their first album for the last almost 40 years. And I don't even mind Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, but if you bring up Guns N' Roses to my wife, who isn't us, who just listens to the radio, she'll know Paradise City and Patience, and that's it.
Oh yes,
and
the classic rock, the classic. I jokingly said this to the local classic rock station. My friend usually has it on, because usually that's what he has on in his car. And I joked with him, and I said, "Does the local station?" I'm not going to say the local station. I don't want to get in trouble, us in trouble or anything. But I will say with the local station here, I mean, I'm just like, do you guys know anything but this? Like, it's like every time I turn on this particular station, they are playing either Guns N' Roses or, I mean, I'm going to say not, kind of like what I call pop culture Zeppelin. They're not playing any of the deep cuts. They're playing.
Yeah.
They're playing Jamaica.
Yeah, they're playing that exactly.
Or Stairway to Heaven.
Or Stairway
My
to
Love.
Heaven or Black Dog. All of my love,
Yeah.
actually. Anytime I turned on this particular station, it was always All of My Love, and I'm like,
Fool
it's a
in the
great
Rain.
song. But I'm like,
yeah.
I
mean, I'll maybe this is a controversial take. I'd put the White Stripes over Guns N' Roses.
I don't know that I would.
Okay, I could see the argument. I'm not saying that. Yeah, that's.
But
definitive.
I'm a guitar nerd. Slash. I would say the top 3 from that era, as far as guitar players go, are going to be Slash, Mick Mars, and George Lynch from Dokken.
Okay.
Those are like my top 3 from that hair into alternative. But would I put them where they are now on this list? Probably not.
I feel like Guns N' Roses, it's like wasted potential. they could have been, like, what they could have been to what they ended up being because they, you know.
Well, and, I think maybe well, I think it was definitely still COVID. So it would have been 2020 going into 2021. We saw Guns N' Roses with Wolfgang, Mammoth WVH,
Mhm.
Eddie's son.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was a good enough show. I will give Axel this. He can perform at a higher level with Guns N' Roses than Vince Neil can perform with Motley Crue at this point.
Yeah.
But there was a point, and this is gonna call back to one of the earlier conversations and one of the lower tier bands on this list. At one point, Duff McKagan took over vocals for Axel to go get some water, do a line, whatever Axel does. And Duff McKagan took over for vocals and covered I Want to Be Your Dog. And that was probably the best performance of that show. My opinion. But I think at the end of the day, what we're looking at with this whole list is without any frame of reference, without knowing what the criteria is, I'm siding with Bill. This is an intern got told to create a list that would generate clicks of the top 50 rock bands, including Cafe Takva and Manya. Um, which again, there's a great Mexican punk band called Molotov. They cover they cover Falco's "Rock Me Amadeus," but the song is Amateur. So, I'm an amateur. It's very good, and I would call that more rock than this.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's one band I love seeing it on. I love seeing them on the list, and this is one I know people are probably gonna look at me funny when I say they're where they at or maybe a little lower. I think they were like 15 or 16. Let me take a look. I think they were like yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know if I would put Talking Heads ahead of the Dead. And I mean, the Talking Heads are very big around here because David Ryan, they formed the band when they were at RISD, the Rhode Island School of Design. They formed the band. So, I mean, Talking Heads is a big part of the culture. And I still remember seeing an interview with David Bryan a few weeks ago where he was lamenting while he was at RISD working at a very famous place in Rhode Island called the Olneyville, New York system, where it served a Rhode Island cultural staple called the hot wiener.
Yep.
And I mean, Anthony, you've probably been Anthony, Mike, you're nodding. You've been to Rhode Island at some point.
Yeah.
I've never been to.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have been to New York twice, only once where I could tour it, and that is the extent of my East Coast. But I also am a fat kid, and
Yes.
I like food, so I like cultural foods.
Yes. I think, with the exception of Mike, I think we were all kind of high on the hog. I know tomorrow I'll probably end up making potatoes and we're having a couple friends over, and my mother and a few people, and I mean we don't even like turkey, so I'm making a prime rib and potatoes. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
see, there
what
you
I'm
go.
doing. And well, anyways, he was lamenting how this what it is basically is like a chili dog. It's basically this hot dog with onions, mustard, and like a special meat sauce.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never had it, but I've been to Rhode Island.
I've had it many times. One of the other places around is very close by, is kind of close by to me. I go there. But basically, how it used to be served was he was saying like when he would work the shift, that was basically the club shift, and you'd see everybody come parading in from some of the Providence clubs, and like they were high, they were this, they were that, they didn't know what planet they were on, but they came in and had a couple of hot wieners and left. To a point, I remember ordering from a food truck. We were at an event, and another Rhode Island staple called Haven Brothers. They were a little like cart. Look them up online. It's their whole history. It's kind of interesting, but they're basically this lunch cart that's open at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they usually park down by the clubs. And I joke they were known for their burgers and all their greasy after dinner drinking food. And I was ordering a burger one time, and I literally looked at the thing, and I go, they go, "What's wrong with you?" I go, "I'm sorry, I've never ordered your food sober before." And they just, one girl was like horrified, and three of the cook and the three girls behind her laugh, and they go, "Not the first time we've heard that." And I mean, that's what I miss is sometimes, Kevin, we've all been there with friends, and I'm going to say we've all been there with friends where we come out of the concert venue, we come out of the club. What's the first thing we want to go do? We want to get something to eat, and that's one thing
Yep.
I lament about. I was lamenting about this to a friend that there are no more 24-hour diners anymore. That since COVID, I have not seen a 24-hour diner where you can go like after the concert, after the club,
Well,
go eat
if you want to
greasy.
come, if you want to come to Philly, if you
Philly
want to
still
come,
has
if
them.
you want to come visit, I will bring you to the Penrose Diner.
Penrose. Oh, the Penrose is still
The
open. Okay.
Penrose Diner in Philadelphia. It is chef's kiss. The Melrose Diner is no more, unfortunately. They knocked it down, but the Penrose Diner, I will bring you to the Penrose Diner, and I will make sure that I will order you a good breakfast when you're there,
Yes.
because that was the after hours, that was the after the bar stop for me and my friends for many,
Yeah.
many, many, many years. It's still there.
And that's
And
a good thing.
I will say this, it tastes good even when it's not at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
But see,
It's still
that's
a
what
good
I
place to
miss.
stop.
That's what I miss. I miss and we're talking about music and everything, and I mean
Oh, but
that's
that,
one
yeah, that's everything about it too. I mean,
that's
that's
part of
That's
the
part of
like
the
you're
venue.
saying.
experience.
I'm thinking about leaving the concert and trying to avoid the people selling the cheap T-shirts that are gonna rip apart in the wash
Yeah,
if you buy one for $10.
the bootlegs.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
And
I
then,
mean,
like you said, like you're gonna leave the concert, you're gonna smell like vomit, you're gonna smell like
like
pot,
pot.
and you're gonna go back to a diner or like a Denny's, which aren't really around anymore, or wherever you would go. Waffle House, we were talking about that online, which I've never been to. And you're gonna talk
Oh yeah,
about what
you
you
are missing out.
I know. And you're gonna talk about what you just saw. And
Well,
And
see,
that's
and as someone who's a recovering smoker,
me too.
you throw in the like what you guys probably didn't experience is you get out of a concert, first thing you do is light a cigarette,
No, yeah, hey man, I used to
and
smoke 2.5 packs a day, my friend.
well, then you know exactly where I'm going with it.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
would I
hey
would
man, can you bum me one? Hey man, can you bum me one?
yeah.
It got to a point where we like the aforementioned Pearl Jam show. I got out, we got out of the show, I lit a cigarette. I had not taken 3 steps, and someone's like, "Hey man, let me get one of those." I was like, "I don't smoke." Literally, the words out of my mouth, "I don't smoke," as I'm taking a drag off my cigarette. The confusion that permeated this person's entire soul was more than worth it for me.
my least favorite part now is like where they go to concerts now, and people take I don't take out the lighters, they put the phone on, and I'm like,
Yeah.
really? And I mean, my favorite one was I went to go see a Blue Oyster Cult show, and there was literally people older than me, okay, and they're sitting there with their phone on trying to record the concert,
Ugh.
and I'm saying to myself, y'all have been to concerts before the fucking cell phones, like, you
Yeah, I don't
know,
get the
Just
it's funny you're saying that because, like, going on, cruises and you go to see the shows that they have on the cruises.
Mm.
And I always say to my wife, because there's people like right in front of us recording the show, and I'm like, are they gonna friggin' go home and like watch like this cheap show that they're watching on a cruise? So I don't get like the recording of one on a cruise that you're recording a show, and two,
Yeah, like who wants to
going
see
to a
your bootleg
concert and
recording
record.
of
Yeah.
the cruise ship performing Xanadu?
I was about
Yes.
to, Anthony. I was literally about to go there. With the, we're going the American Dad route.
And
Some
where the
poor
hell?
schlub at the end of their career
And I'm sorry,
singing,
but where the hell are the Bee Gees on this list? Come
yeah,
on.
singing Olivia
I-
Newton-John, Xanadu.
Xanadu.
Yes, exactly.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, you're playing the cruise ship, but yeah, I mean, the Bee Gees were I will give you the Bee Gees were iconic in their own time. Like I said, I mean, we're talking about going to see places with people.
I will say, watch the HBO Max Bee Gees documentary that came out a couple of years ago. It gave me a whole new perspective. I will just say, my wife was, after 2 months, she was like, why do you keep listening to the Bee Gees? I'm like, I watched a documentary on HBO and I'm into the Bee Gees now, okay? Stop it.
Well, you talk about like impact of music. I can judge all you want. My mother was a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She loved watching all the Marvel movies.
Your mom
And
sounds very cool.
and she is. And when we watched Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh, it's a great
she,
soundtrack.
she lit up. She's like, I know this music. I
Yeah.
listen to this.
Yep.
And she was like, and because she looked at me, she goes, do they still sell soundtracks? I said, I don't know, Ma. I said, because I mean, she still had a CD player, like up until maybe recently when it broke. When the CD player she bought in the '90s finally broke, and she looks at me like maybe.
Tell
12
her to
years
keep
ago.
it, because it's gonna come back in style,
And
just
she
like
goes to me, she goes,
Yeah, just
albums.
like
So
vinyl.
she
yeah.
goes, do you think they still can make a replacement CD player? I go, yeah, I don't think so, Ma. She goes, oh. I said, I can burn the CDs to your phone. Great. And so it was funny, and so she was like listening, and she wanted the CD for Guardians of the Galaxy, so I got it for her, and I had it on, and I mean, it was kind of one of those, just like listening experience, and that's what I always say, and this is what we're talking about here, and I will float another trial balloon. I think I've kind of floated it when we were talking before, is music is best both listened to, and as we were alluding to about 5 minutes ago, sitting in the coffee house, sitting in the diner with your friends, having a pancake, sneaking a huff of your small cigar or cigarette while they're not looking, and talking about the show, but talking about, hey, that show is great, but you remember the show we went to 3 years ago?
And
You
also, I
know,
mean, and I don't know if you've experienced, either of you guys. You're old like I am, not as old, but so in the diners that you've been in, have you had the the things on connected to the tables where you can put a nickel or a quarter in and play the song that you want to play?
Yeah, there was a place
yes.
called
Yes.
American Pie
Yeah.
in Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Uh, the pizza was of questionable quality. I mean, it's Elizabethtown, Kentucky, obviously not like New York or the best pizza, which is Chicago. But
Philadelphia.
I'm saying you've got a Bostonian, a Philadelphian, and Anthony. Well,
I'm gonna bring you boys to Philly, and
Chicago and
I will
yeah,
show
Chicago, and yeah,
I
and
will
walk
yeah.
into a
show you
bar.
guys around the haunts in
When,
Philadelphia.
when you go around, to some of these other parts of the country, and that's what I love about it is, like I was in the cultural vast wasteland. I went to school for a few years in Connecticut, and they were like, "Our food's great." I'm like, "No, it's not."
No.
My dad always would tell me a story because he was stationed in the middle of North Dakota when he was in the Air Force, and he was like gonna get some Chinese food. He was like in Bismarck, North Dakota, and he goes, do you have any Chinese food here? And they asked him, where are you from? And he goes, Boston. He goes, oh, no. He said his commander was like, no, no, that's not Chinese food. It fools the locals in North Dakota, but it is not.
Well,
Um,
it's like Henry Hill at the end of Goodfellas, where it's
Yeah.
exactly.
ordering.
Exactly. Well, or
It's just
even
noodles and ragu.
even the joke they make in the kind of the unofficial sequel to Goodfellas, My Blue Heaven, where you get all the mobsters around the table going, we had somewhere where they had Maria and I went somewhere they said had good red sauce. How was it? Please, and
But yeah, I mean, I think what we're all getting at here is that music is meant to be experienced.
Yep.
And
I think what we're all getting at is everybody's list will be different, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
and I'll give you a great example of this.
Unless you have Paramore on it.
Yeah,
except this one's wrong.
I'll give you a great example of this. My dad said when he was stationed in North Dakota, he went to go see The Fifth Dimension, and it was North Dakota. Okay, Bismarck, North Dakota is not someplace you would think The Fifth Dimension would play.
No, they
No.
were the only people of color there.
They added to the population that week.
Exactly.
And he went to go see him. He went to grab some of his friends from back east. Some of the people he knew from back east. They went to go see him one night. And he said they were kind of like, oh, geez, like, great, we're in North Dakota. People were receptive. They said they put on a show and a half. Okay, and the arena he was in was maybe about a quarter of the way full. He said the next week, as he put it, they had some country festival being headlined by Billy Ray and the Cattle Kickers. Billy Ray and the Shit Kickers, as he used to say it. And he said, you could not get within 2 millimeters of the place because there were campers parked everywhere, RVs parked everywhere. You couldn't even get into the venue because of everybody tailgating in the middle of North Dakota. And what a difference a week makes. And that's what I think we're kind of adding to that is there are people out there probably reading this list going, gee, why isn't Korn on this list? Why isn't I didn't say they were right.
I know.
Saying why isn't Korn on this list? Why isn't so and so on this list? And we're sitting here going like, yeah, okay, this list is okay, but there definitely should be some groups on here. We're missing some.
There are some definite gaps. There are some definite questionable positionings.
But I mean, like any list, I mean, it's like, okay, it does bring out the conversation. Okay, I've been looking the last couple of years at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominations, and sometimes it's like, all right, they weren't in already, and there are some years you're like, wait a minute. I could think of a group, like 500 different groups that are not in the Hall of Fame, and these guys are in before them, like. And I mean, but it is all subjective, and I think that's the big thing that's the one thing I love about music, that it brings us together, that right, wrong, and different. We're going to talk about the shows we've been to. We're going to talk about what influenced us, and I think it's a great pop culture kind of standpoint that, we could all be in the same room and be like, again, I know people now are like, oh, I don't like you because you listen to this, or I don't like you because you listen to that. It's like, no, man, like, when it comes to taste, I can't remember the Latin right now because it's like 2 a.m. So pardon me for saying so. But it's when it comes to taste, there should be no dispute. And that's the biggest thing I think we can subject is, yes, this list is here. Yes, I believe there's some glowing we've discussed, and I think there's some awkward positioning. But I think at the end of the day, I think we can at least agree on the top three, maybe top four. That
Yeah.
because I mean, standing records, I mean, even because of their pop culture. I mean, I'm going to assume the position. Yeah, okay, everybody knows the Beatles. Everybody knows the Stones. It's just the Beatles and the Stones are ingrained in the culture. Led
Well,
Zeppelin. I mean, that's a band.
even that one. I mean, the youngest was here, down from college, and I presented her the list, and there were a lot, but she was like, I don't really know. But you get into that top three, and she's like, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they got the top three right, and the rest is, again, it's a matter of taste.
Yeah.
And especially in cases like mine, because I tend to music that is more gravel in the garbage disposal. Taste is, there's no accounting for taste.
No, but how I mean,
I
like what Bill's saying though, how awesome is it that the 3 of us can come on here and we have all different tastes in I mean, I think we're all circling around the same type of music, but we still have different favorites and different tastes, but we can still talk about it. And I mean, like I brought up on previous episodes when Anthony brought up the Beach Boys, I was like, yeah, you know what? I should probably listen to some of their 70s stuff, which I did. You can always, it's never too late to get into something new and to try to discover, there's always going to be those blind spots. There's always going to be those blind spots.
I mean, this music I love listening to is some of the old blues, but also too. I mean, I'll listen to a lot of. I remember, a few years ago, I'm a little bit of an avid gamer, and I played Fallout. I was playing the Fallout series, and I got into listening to a lot of the stuff from like the 40s and the 50s.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I literally one of those like AI algorithms that says analyze your Spotify, and I think it said confused old person. That there's some modern stuff in there, but there's like a lot of Sinatra, and there's a lot of like
Yeah.
big,
And at the same time, like, again, my YouTube music, because I don't have Spotify, is, like, if you go to my mix, it's basically a schizophrenic having a psychotic episode.
yeah, it could
You can
be,
go from the Ink Spots, who, like, one of the biggest, like, we stayed on the Queen Mary in March, in Long Beach. If you get the opportunity, definitely do it. Um, but on their promenade deck, they have a lot of their old photos. The Ink Spots were the first group of color to play on the Queen Mary
yeah,
as like the house band.
Yep.
And like that for me was huge.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it'll go from the Ink Spots to like Lorna Shore, which is definitely not the Ink Spots.
Yeah.
But
I there
But
one day
as you
when
get older, I mean, you realize and I know because as a teenager I was like, I'm a rock guy. This is what I am. I love rock. And then you get older and say, and I was joking about it earlier, but holy shit, the Bee Gees are pretty fucking great. Like why didn't I listen to the Bee Gees earlier? And hey, why don't I listen to Buddy Holly? And hey, why don't I listen to the Supremes? It's like you kind of break down those walls where you don't have to be you don't have to put yourself into one category. And that's what I think all of this should be. And it's almost like we talked about, like with the parameters of what rock is and what kind of bands can be on here.
Yeah, and I mean, I can remember like Anthony, you were making the joke. I mean, sometimes my playlist will go from like Count Basie to
Yeah.
like Judas Priest back to
yeah,
like either Jerry Lee Lewis or Johnny Cash from early rockabilly.
Yep.
Even one day the other day I think I went from the Ink Spots to like Black Sabbath to Reverend Horton Heat to like some
Yeah.
classical. Is what happened the other day.
Well,
And you know
it,
what?
it,
You're gonna be able to trace back from what you're listening to something all the way back there somehow, because it's all connected in some way.
And that's what
well, and
Hey, Anthony.
and like I've said before, as much as external forces want to divide us, and I say this being as vague as possible, but with the caveat that at heart, I'm a punk kid.
Hmm.
You know, as much as external forces want to divide us, this is the type of shit that unites us.
Yep.
We come from different walks, from completely different regions in
Yeah.
the world, and some of us from subpar food locations, but we don't judge.
And we
But
can still do a podcast and stay up to 2:19 in the
oh,
morning talking
Jesus,
about all
yeah,
this shit.
And that's what I think that's the heart of what you're trying to do with your podcast, Mike. Is that like
Yep.
it's amazing how the pop culture unites us.
Yep.
That it's not just
And it does. I mean, we didn't know each other until we started doing this kind of stuff, and I
started
didn't know.
jabbering on Twitter about Mash.
Yeah, and
Really,
but it brings you into all these other subjects, and it's the same thing with Anthony, and we were talking
it,
about it before we started recording. I mean, it's like you
the
do this.
life of Venn diagrams,
Yeah, the
right?
Venn diagram of all of this stuff, and we joke about it, but to learn about other people, where they grew up and how they consume this kind of stuff and what their experiences were going to concerts and going after concerts and what they did, and you find that everybody kind of had the same, but it's a little bit different, and it's always interesting to talk about.
Well, you
It
were
really
always saying
is.
of the jukebox. See, we didn't have. There wasn't places where we had a lot of. There wasn't a lot of jukeboxes where we were. They usually had the music piped in over the thing. And I still remember there was a breakfast chain here. They've gone out of business, which was sad because they used to make this Dutch baby pancake called the Big Apple. It was a place called Bickford's. And I don't think they had them on the East Coast. I don't know how far east they went, but I know they were
They
all
never got this far east,
never
but I
got
know what a Dutch baby is.
yeah. But they made this great Dutch baby pancake, and it was like the size of a hubcap, and it was like the greatest drunk food ever. I mean, it was like sweet, it was savory, and it was the greatest drunk food. It was the greatest drunk food ever. Because it just soaked everything up, and you could sit there, and they were open all night, and usually they were on the truck lane, and the truckers would come in and everything else there. But I mean, I still remember the time we went to a truck stop. We were coming back from a scout trip, and one of the guys who actually did long haul trucking, he looked at us and goes, "We're stopping here." We're like, "What's wrong with it?" He goes, "The food sucks." Okay, what the Zagat trucker guide goes,
They weren't on the Michelin. They weren't on the Michelin guide.
they weren't on this Michelin guide. For even the guy who does long haul trucking's like, "We're stopping here. The food sucks. All right, we can go
Yeah,
down like two
kids,
towns down the
before
road."
Yelp, there was long haul truckers.
Yeah, and he did some long haul for one of the food companies, and he was telling us all sorts of stories, like because we were in New Jersey. We were at a rest stop. We were at the Vince Lombardi rest stop in New Jersey before they probably put
Mhm.
them on. And it used to be a pit. It was. It was a horrible pit. I was a horrible pit. You talk about Anthony ball breaking. My friends and scouts still break my agates about it. When I got scared by a Rastafarian coming out of the bathroom, and I'm not going in there. I was like, and then about like 2 hours down the road, I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. They're like, why didn't you go? They're like, because Bill got scared by the Rastafarian. And
Well, I'm gonna say, since you're talking about going to the bathroom, it is 2:22 in the morning now on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving. My secret plan was to do this list because now I don't have to do a podcast just on Led Zeppelin or on the Beatles or anything else because we talked about all these bands now already, so we don't have to do it
Hey,
at all.
it works
And
out.
also, I'm like excited because I thought I was the only person who says break their agates, so I was glad that Bill just said it because I've never heard anybody else other than my Italian relatives say break their agates. So, see,
Oh, I will.
we're bringing all of us together with the.
I will literally. One time, the other day it was funny. Somebody was like at work and they were like annoying me, and I'm like, stop it! You're giving me agita,
There
huh?
you go.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's the Italian relatives, man. You gotta give them the agita.
we were talking about music. And one day, I usually have music on when I'm like when I'm not on the phone with people. I usually have my music on because that's what I do. Because that's how I usually keep sane during the day. I will have my music on. And literally, somebody tapped me on the shoulder, and I was like talking. I was like, hang on. I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, pull my headphones. I was like, go, yo, and they were like, oh, and they were like, they had a tech problem because that's what I do. I do tech support, and I was talking to them, and it was one of the younger people. And they look at me and they go, "Are you really listening to that?" I go, "What?" And they go, "You really listen to Black Sabbath?" Like, mind you, I have a Black Sabbath coffee mug on my desk. I have a Black Sabbath coffee mug. And literally they're like, "You listen to that old guy music? Like, what is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "What do you listen to?" "Oh, I listen to," I think they said Taylor Swift. And I'm like,
Was it
uh,
Paramore?
yeah, Paramore. And they said
All
like
right.
Taylor Swift or something, and I'm just looking. I'm like, okay, you think Taylor Swift is the epitome of music? Oh, Taylor can do no wrong. I'm like, I'm just like, all right, there is so much wrong with that statement, but I do not want to get fired because I may make you cry at the breadth of musical knowledge I'm about to lay down on you because without a number of bands and musical acts, Taylor Swift wouldn't even be would be some where is she from, like somewhere in
She's in Pennsylvania, man.
oh,
Near
Pennsylvania.
she
Okay,
grew up near where my wife did.
okay. I thought she was like Midwest or something. See, so well,
No, no, no.
this is how well with it I am with with the T Swift movement, and of course all the Swifties now are going to come after me. She's insulted Taylor. Like the gay chorus at the end of Blazing Saddles. Hey, hit buddy, let's get him, Goyles.
All right. I think that is the perfect spot to end it on the old man ramblings of Bill Dunn. Since he already took his nap and now it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning and we've been
Yes.
recording for almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Anthony and I have to go to bed. Bill's like up for the rest of the night because he already took
Yeah,
his nap.
I've still got to get up at 8 in the morning.
No,
So.
I gotta get up. I gotta get up about 8
Yep.
at least I've been told I'm gonna work tomorrow. I'm gonna work, basically tomorrow. But
Nah, screw you guys. I'm off. I'm gonna have another beer after I get off here. But I want to say thank you guys for coming on. I mean, Anthony, thanks for coming on time. I mean, you didn't come on an hour into the show. We didn't have to worry. I didn't have to put the call out to make sure that Bill was alive. But
all I'm saying is Abyssinia Henry.
I know, but
That's it. Nick was 6,000 yards and flying.
and flying, baby. But I was there on time, though.
Just an
All right.
on time.
That's right. Do you guys want to give out your internet credentials? You want to let people know where they can find you, or do you want to remain relatively anonymous? I always ask.
Yeah, Tinfoil Consortium on X and A Elmer 2821 on Reddit. Those are the only two social outreaches that I have. And if you don't come correct at either one of them, I'll probably make you a statistic.
Just make fun of the Vikings; it'll be fine.
Oh, jeez.
Bill, what about you? You want to
I'm
let
not
people
gonna
know where they
start.
can
I'm
find you?
not gonna start the football chat because the Patriots are actually doing something for once, but they haven't played actual teams. But we'll
Yeah,
go
calm
from there.
yourself. Let them play a team that has a winning record.
I'm like, which we play an actual team, please? Come on, guys. I digress. I will probably say this: that probably one of the greatest places you can probably find me is Darth Bill 52 on Twitter. I will not say X. I will not. I will not. I will not demand the Elon correction because Elon can, go,
Fuck
go,
himself.
go fuck himself. Exactly. Go play with the sheep or something. I don't care.
And Bill, let me tell you, man, like I've heard you might be guesting on Best Care Anywhere. I recommended you, so don't embarrass me, okay? Be on your best behavior.
I will behave.
Show up on time.
Boss, sir, I am insulted at the honor of our radio by behavior, sir.
And
Yeah, Mike, thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm still
It's
sorry about having to put you through all the poo-poo stories. My apologies.
it was
Yeah,
again. It's those things that unite us all in this weird, wide world.
yep.
yeah, because I can
So
remember being on the line and having the same feeling where, like, I've ruined a few pairs of shorts. But yeah, Mike just literally sends me a text. He goes, I just listened to the episode of Best Care Anywhere, and they're talking about shit story. And because they asked him a question, what is wrong with you? And I go, is this multiple choice?
Well, I want to say to you guys, thank you, because we, as I said at the beginning of the episode, I literally brought this up to you about an hour or two before we actually recorded.
And I
So
think it was Anthony that literally goes, I smell a topic. And we're like, and I'm just like, and you're like, no, we're not going to do this. And then you're like,
I was like, fuck it, let's do it.
fucking 11
is this
o'clock,
bait?
let's
I feel like
go.
this
And
is
we're
bait.
just like, all right, let's go. So yeah,
But-
some of the best parts, I think some of the best things are made just with a, yeah, let's just talk. Screw it.
Oh
Rather
yeah,
than
it's this is the
tweeting
best type of
ourselves all
podcast.
night,
There's
let's
no,
just get on
there's
the line
no.
and
I don't
talk.
have to research anything. I don't have to. It's just going, and it's like we're all sitting at a bar just talking to each other. That's the
And I
best
think
type
that's
of
the
podcast.
best thing. I think that's one thing I think
Yep.
people don't do much anymore is just sit and talk.
Yep.
And converse.
So if anybody likes that kind of podcast, please look for me on Twitter at Pop Culture Basement, or you can look for me specifically at This Lightsaber Kills Fascists. I'm old, so you can look for me on Facebook at Pop Culture Basement, and I'm not that old because I'm on Bluesky also at Pop Culture Basement or This Lightsaber Kills Fascists. I always say, and these two guys always do it, so I am very grateful. Share the podcast with your friends. If you see me on Twitter or on Facebook, share the podcast with your friends. Let them know that if they're into this kind of stuff, that I think they'll have a good time listening to it. And if you're on Apple or on Spotify, just shoot me a review. I don't even care if it's a 1-star review, but just get the algorithm out there. And yeah, that's it. I mean, this is going to be a special episode. I'm not sure exactly when. I'm not even going to edit this episode. I'm just going to put it out the way it is because we just, like I said, this was just like, fuck it, let's just do it. So it's going to go out the way it is, and I think people will have a good time with it. But gentlemen, I want to thank you guys again. You guys will be on again for multiple episodes. I'm sure we're going to be on for stuff. And, I mean, it's still got that Star Wars, the original trilogy, and Indiana Jones that I got to do too. So, I know people want to be on those episodes. So, you never know.
Maybe.
You never know. But until then, we're recording this the night before. Well, now it's the night before Thanksgiving because it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It's probably not going to come out for a while, but happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. I have no friggin' idea when this episode's going to come out, but thank you guys again. I always appreciate you guys coming on and for spreading the word, spreading the gospel of the Pop Culture Basement. And to all the listeners out there, thank you. Have a happy holiday. And go on to Twitter and look at this fucking list and say, what the hell were you thinking? And let us know what your favorite bands are. And, hey.
Yeah, let us know if we're full of shit. You can just say it, literally. You
No,
guys
I
are
mean,
full of shit.
they know we're full of shit. So let us know. But until then, We will talk to you later. Thank you guys, and thank you listeners. Bye.